these reads. It's kind of become my favorite part. You never know what line they're going to just stumble onto live. Let's see. Almost there. Almost there.
Have a good read, everybody.
Banter and silence.
Okay, everybody,
Oh, there he goes. There's the double over talk. So that means we're live.
Oh.
Woo! Hello, everybody, and welcome to Scripts Gone Wild, where we drink more than William Holden and probably read more than he did, too. Tonight is the first of our 5 Halloween reads, and we're kicking it off with a doozy, Robert Zemeckis' Death Becomes Her. And before I get into the details of everything, I want to introduce our co-host for the evening from the Screen Drafts podcast, Mr. Clay Keller.
Clay Keller.
Hello.
How's it going, Clay?
It's going well, Billy. First, I want to make it very clear that your comments about William Holden do not necessarily represent the feelings of everybody here, particularly myself. I have to do some research on that. And also, I'm looking at the screenplay we have, which is fascinating. It seems to be like photocopies of 100 different versions of the script. But on the cover page, it says that's written by David Koepp, who apparently has had a hand in every movie, and Martin Donovan, who I am preferring to do no research and just assume that beloved independent film and theater actor Martin Donovan co-wrote Death Becomes Her.
I believe it is a different Martin Donovan.
Not the same Martin Donovan.
All right. Well,
not Martin Tennant Donovan.
Yes.
Tonight we are doing Death Becomes Her, and we are raising money for an amazing organization called RAINN. It is the nation's largest anti-sexual violence organization. They operate the DoD Safe Helpline for the Department of Defense, and they carry out programs to prevent sexual violence, help survivors, and ensure that perpetrators are brought to justice. And this is an organization. This is a charity that Barbara chose. Actually, good job, Barbara.
Thank you. Yeah.
All
the good work they do.
Yes, they do amazing work, and we want you to donate to them. If you're going to enjoy this read and you've got some money that you want to donate, please do. You can go to our website at scriptsgonewild.com, click on the donate tab. It's going to take you directly to the RAINN donation portal where you can make a donation directly to them. And as an added bonus, if you make a donation, send us a screenshot, and the person who makes the largest donation will receive a special Robert Zemeckis Blu-ray prize pack. And that's going to feature Blu-rays of Death Becomes Her,
Marwin, The Walk.
No, not those.
Polar Express.
Death Becomes Her, Romancing the Stone, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and one of my personal favorites, Contact. So make a donation, send us a screenshot. You can do that for the next 48 hours. That's how long the contest will run. So if you watch this tomorrow, don't fret. You can still donate and send us that screenshot. And then we will draw a winner at random, and you will win those 4 Blu-rays, which is pretty awesome. And now I'm going to introduce our readers for the evening. We have Barbara Crampton. We have Kelli Maroney. Clarke Wolfe. Bryan Cogman.
Yes.
Drew McWeeny. And now I'm going to do my best to not mess this up.
Okay.
Rakefet.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Now let's see if I can get the last name right. Abergel.
I'll take it. It's Abergel or Abergel. Rakefet Abergel. I don't know.
I got it right.
You did
Get
it.
the drink on that. We also have Ashley Song.
Woo!
Noelle Urbano. Ryan Marker. Chad Addison. And Devaughn Taylor.
Yeah.
So before we get started, I want to ask something, because we have Barbara and Kelli here, and I believe, am I correct? Is this the first time you two have performed together since Chopping Mall?
Yes.
Wow. That's really
It's
exciting.
sad. It's kind of sad.
It is. It is. That's a.
Somebody needs to fix that.
Someone needs to write a screenplay for the both of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get on that. Okay.
I'm on it.
Surely it's about time to remake Death Becomes Her. I mean, they remake everything else.
Yeah.
Why not? So I'm going to go into the rules really quickly for those at home who don't know how this is done. Scripts Gone Wild is a drinking game. If someone flubs a line, misses a cue, does anything that we can construe as a mistake, they have to take a drink. That is their penance. Our social media followers choose social words. These are words that when they are read aloud by the readers only, not me, when they're read aloud by the readers, everyone has to take a drink. And those words tonight are dead and body.
Oh man.
God have mercy on your livers.
Thank you.
Oh man.
We also have a finish your drink line. This is a line that when it is read aloud in the script, everyone finishes whatever drink is in their hand, whether it is a fresh pour or just a couple of sips. Usually our Patreon subscribers choose this, but I was selfish today and just chose it myself because it's my favorite line in the script, which is "On guard, bitch." And so that will be the finish your drink line. Again, please make a donation to RAINN. We'll be reminding you in the middle of the read and afterwards as well. Do any of our readers have any questions?
No.
Okay. Well, you know, we're going to get into it because it's a 158-page script.
Oh my god.
So we're going to just dive on into it. Death
Oh, Billy Ray,
becomes her.
there's a rule that I've seen. Occasionally people are a little confused by. If somebody screws up, flubs, only the person who screwed up needs to take a drink.
Yes.
Not everybody. So we might yell drink at somebody who had a personal flub.
Okay.
That is just for them to drink. You can drink, in solidarity if you want to, but it is certainly not required. Also, Billy Ray and I will be shouting drink at you. We're not trying to trip you up in your performance. It is just we are following the rules that Billy Ray is responsible for having created, and that's the way it goes. If someone's in the middle of a juicy bit of monologue or really on a roll or something, we may wait till the end of the line and then
That's much
out.
appreciated, Clay.
Call out for that.
Yes. We
We
will let
also-
Bryan act.
Yeah.
We also don't drink on the words if they're in the stage direction.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
I
If
drank
read
the
it,
dialogue.
much during Planet of the Apes.
Only
if I read it, it doesn't count. It's only if you guys read it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we
Well,
go.
here we go. Death Becomes Her by Martin Tennant Donovan and David Koepp. Exterior, New York skyline night. A soft summer shower flashes and rumbles over New York City. Broadway, 1979. The title of a show, Songbird, ! Blinks in red neon on a theater marquee, and next to it, the words Preview Tonight. Up above the title, the name Madeline Ashton glitters in brilliant black letters. A couple burst out of the theater and breathe the night air as if for the first time.
A musical version of Sweet Bird of Youth? Are they kidding?
Thank God you wanted to leave.
They hurry down the street.
Could you believe Madeline Ashton? Talk about waking the dead.
I gotta get a drink.
The second woman tosses her playbill, which lands face up on the sidewalk in the rain. There's a picture of a woman on the cover, a glamorous actress, and we cut to the actress's face, and the picture on the playbill isn't exactly from yesterday. Madeline Ashton, 40-ish, has just reached the point where age is beginning to encroach on her incredible looks. She's elegant, beautiful, but if you look closely behind her eyes in a quiet moment, you'll notice something else. She's terrified. Right now, she's singing and dancing up a storm, seemingly without benefit of training in singing or dancing. A dozen guys in tuxedos carry her across the stage while she sings the first act curtain number, Me. Walkouts continue in the audience. In the audience, two hands are intertwined. He, Dr. Ernest Menville, is in his 40s, a bit rumpled but clear-eyed. She, Helen Sharp, is about 5 years younger. Pretty but dowdy, Helen seems to have completely reinvented style by ignoring it. Provincial is too harsh. Homey is a better word for Helen. Ernest beams, thoroughly enjoying the play, and he leans over to Helen and whispers, "She's sensational." Backstage, night. Madeline is in her dressing room backstage, examining her face critically in the mirror, holding the skin back in an imaginary facelift.
Wrinkled little star. Hope they'll never see the scars.
Rose, Madeline's factotum, comes into the room.
Your guests are here, Miss Ashton. Miss Helen Sharp with a gentleman.
How does she look?
Who?
Helen, you idiot.
I don't know. Smart, I guess. Kind of classy.
Who asked you? What do you know about smart and classy? Smart and classy compared to who?
Well, compared to... maybe...
Watch it, Rose. You're too old to be out of a job.
What did I say?
Oh, please. If you get any slower, you'll be declared dead.
Drink!
Oh,
The door opens. Helen enters with Ernest, who follows her rather shyly. Madeline abandons all her nervousness and turns toward Helen with the greatest theatrical smile.
Hello, darling. I can't believe it.
how are you, Mad?
Oh, it's been so long, and don't you dare say how long.
They kiss. Madeline's eyeline shifts towards Ernest, who nods and claps his hands politely in reference to the play.
Mad, I want you to meet Dr. Ernest Manville, my fiance.
Ernest Manville, the plastic surgeon. I've read all about you, doctor. How nice to finally meet you.
You were wonderful, Miss Ashton.
Ernest is quite a fan. He never told me he had such a Madeline Ashton thing.
Oh, I don't. Sure, he doesn't have a. Do you?
Oh no, I.
Oh, I'm so happy for you both. How did you meet? Where? Why?
Helen edited the first medical text I wrote, and well, you know.
An editor. What happened to the writing?
Oh, still trying.
Oh, don't be modest. She's brilliant, and the world will soon find out.
Tell me, doctor. Do you think I'm starting to need you? So, have you two set a date?
No, we
Yes,
haven't.
we have.
They look at each other. A smile grows across Madeline's face like a fungus. Operating room day. An enormous eye is visible through a surgeon's lighted magnifying viewer. The eye is closed and creased on the side by crow's feet. A scalpel moves up alongside the eye and prepares to make an incision. Ernest, the surgeon wielding the scalpel, is in gown and mask, and he addresses his assistants in rapid-fire jargon.
Move the retractors over. I'm going after the lateral fat pad. I better put a hemostat on it too. There's some decent-sized vessels in there, and if I clip one, I don't need any extra bleeding.
He goes to make the incision, but stops, hearing a strange tapping sound, and he looks up, confused. The tapping comes again, and he looks over to the door, Madeline standing outside. She waves through the glass. She looks ravishing. Ernest, surprised, grins broadly beneath the mask and waves back with one gloved, bloody hand. Helen's apartment, night. An austere place, done in pastels and dimly lit. Helen sits on a sofa, tense, twisting a handkerchief in her hands, and a cat winds around her legs. Ernest, still in his overcoat, paces in front of her.
For heaven's sake, it was dinner, a business dinner. The woman wanted my professional opinion.
Ernest, you don't know Madeline the way I do. She wants you. She wants you because you're mine. I've lost men to her before. She turns on the flash and the glitter, and they're gone. That's why I wanted you to meet her before we got married. I needed to know if you would pass the Madeline Ashton test. Please, please don't fail. I couldn't take it again. I don't know what I'd do.
Do you know how silly you sound? I have absolutely no interest in Madeline Ashton.
Marriage hall, day. Ernest stands in a dark suit, hands folded in front of him, and a priest stands before him.
And do you, Ernest, take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife, to have and to hold, to love and to cherish, in sickness and in health, till death do you part?
I do.
And that by the power invested in me, I now pronounce you man and wife.
Ernest turns to a bride standing next to him. He smiles happily, reaches out and lifts her veil. It's Madeline. He kisses her, and a small group of guests cheer. Ernest is about to pull out of the rather chaste wedding kiss when Madeline runs one hand into the back of his hair, grabbing a handful of it. She runs her other hand down his chest, heading south. She pulls his head forward and puts her lips to his ear. She whispers something sexy. From the look on Ernest's face, it's hot enough to light a cigarette from.
Oh, God.
They kiss again hard, and the choir bursts into the hallelujah. Back in the church, almost hiding in the shadows, is Helen, weeping, devastated, clutching a handkerchief tightly in her hands. She stares at the front of the church at Ernest and Madeline. They finally break from their kiss and turn, sweeping down the aisle towards the doors to the cheering of guests. Helen steps back further into the shadows, out of sight. They sweep almost right past her, but don't see her, totally absorbed in one another, giggling happily. They burst out the doors and down the steps of the church. Helen stares after them. She still clutches the handkerchief even more tightly now, and a trickle of blood oozes out from her palms, staining the red cloth. Helen's apartment, an enormous woman's butt, stares us smack in the face. 5 years later, it says. The apartment we're in is an absolute pigsty, the home of a lunatic, jammed with newspapers, food cartons, and dozens of cats, which crawl everywhere. Snow falls outside, visible through a window, and there is a relentless pounding at the front door.
On, lady! We know you're in there!
The butt ignores the pounding and waddles across the kitchen. A hand opens a cabinet. 30 or 40 cans of vanilla cake frosting are stacked neatly inside, and the hand picks one and cranks off the top.
This is your last warning. You can't just ignore it, but you notice.
Finally, the owner of the butt turns around. It's Helen, and she is an absolute mess. She's only 5 years older, but at least 50 pounds heavier and shows no concern for her appearance. Her chin is streaked with frosting. She turns away from the door and goes back to the TV. She picks up a remote control and pushes play. On the TV, it's an old movie from the late 60s, a murder mystery. Madeline, much younger, dressed in evening wear, has come home to her apartment to find an intruder.
What are you doing here?
The intruder jumps her and strangles her with a stocking. Madeline screams and dies. Helen smiles.
We're breaking the door down.
Helen ignores them, pushes rewind, then play, then watches the same scene again. Madeline screams and dies. Helen rewinds it again. Behind her, the door smashes open and light floods the apartment. Cops and the landlord hurry in, then turn and reel at the stench. On the TV, Helen has started Madeline's death scene again. The cops come over and grab her by the arms, hauling her to her feet and dragging her to the door. Helen doesn't resist them, just strains to look. She strains to look back over her shoulder at the TV, grinning as she watches Madeline die again. Psychiatric ward, day. Helen, cleaned up now but still vastly overweight, sits in a straight back chair in a drab institutional room in a psychiatric ward, twisting a handkerchief in her hands again. There are a half dozen other patients there, part of group therapy. The psychologist, a tough person in her 40s, looks at Helen.
What about you, Helen? We haven't heard from you in a while. Do you have anything you want to talk about with the group?
They all turn.
Madeline Ashton.
She barely has the words out of her mouth when the other group members throw up their hands and groan, some even shouting to her in anger. The psychologist leaps to her feet and points an accusing finger.
In my office.
In his office.
I can't take this anymore, Helen. 6 months of therapy, you're not 1 pound lighter, and we're still talking about Madeline Ashton?
Do you think that I enjoy talking about Madeline Ashton?
Do you think I enjoy it? I don't know how many different ways I can tell you this. Madeline Ashton has nothing to do with you anymore. You have to tell yourself she doesn't even exist. For you to have a life, for any of us to have a life, you have to forget about her. You have to erase her from your mind. You have to completely eliminate any trace of her.
You're right.
Wait, what?
You're absolutely right. I don't know why I didn't see it before. I have to eliminate Madeline.
That's it. Eliminate all the...
And I should get in shape.
Right.
Lose a few pounds.
Exactly.
Get in shape, lose a few pounds, eliminate Madeline.
Beverly Hills, day. A messenger on a moped puts down the street in an exclusive section of Beverly Hills, clutching an envelope in his hand. He passes exquisitely manicured estates, all of them protected by heavy wrought iron security bars that line their front yards and driveways. He stops in front of one such estate and rings at the gate. Beverly Hills, 7 years later is what it says. At the mansion, Rose, 12 years older, carries a breakfast tray smoothly up this mansion's central staircase to the second floor. The breakfast is simple: yogurt, an apple, some tea, and 2 ice blue eye patches. The messenger's envelope is also on the tray, and now we have a chance to read the name written on the front: Madeline Ashton Menville. Madeline's bedroom. She's asleep in bed, her face tied back by triangles of plastic to prevent her facial muscles from relaxing. Rose comes silently into the room and deposits the breakfast tray next to the bed, and she puts on some soft chamber music. Madeline wakes up.
All right.
Rose opens the drapes.
Good morning, madam. You look absolutely marvelous.
Aren't you forgetting something?
Well, today is Thursday, madam. I thought I only...
Never mind. I think from now on, I want you to say it every morning.
Very well. Oh, madam, you look younger every day.
Oh, thank you, Rose.
Madeline picks up the envelope.
What's this?
Your tickets for Helen Sharp's reception tonight. They just came.
Table assignments, clever little witch. Forever Young, a new book by Helen Sharp.
Oh, I like that title.
How about Forever Young and Eternally Fat? You like that one too, Rose? I find it hard to believe he got up early and made his half of the bed.
No, madam.
Again?
Third floor. Rose carries another tray upstairs, this one even simpler, a Bloody Mary and a bottle of aspirin. She opens the door to the third floor of the house, revealing to be a spacious loft with an enormous skylight. On a table next to a comfy chair, a framed picture of Madeline and Ernest on their wedding day fights for space with empty glasses and booze bottles. Someone's feet are by the chair. It's Ernest, lying on the floor where he passed out the night before. Unlike Madeline, he looks older. He looks lined. He looks, frankly, a wreck. A beeper on his belt beeps away, but he sleeps on peacefully. Rose shuts it off. He moans, opens his eyes, and looks at her.
Is this an angel I see before me?
Dr. Menville, how sweet.
Not you, Toots.
He closes his hand around the drink, drags himself up into the easy chair, and takes a deep swallow. It has a strong, soothing effect, and his head seems to be clear. There are a couple scalpels on the table next to him, and he picks one up and plays with it idly.
Is it up yet?
Yes, sir. It's in the bath.
He sighs and holds out the scalpel, sighting on a dartboard on the wall about 15 feet away. His hand is a drinker's hand, and it shakes so badly he can barely hold it straight. Zing! He tosses the scalpel. He misses wildly, thunking the scalpel into the wall a few feet away from the board. In fact, that whole wall is peppered with holes, and the dartboard itself is like new.
Your beeper was beeping, sir. Mr. Franklin again.
The mansion foyer. Ernest comes down from the stairs from the third floor wearing a wrinkled jacket and tie. Madeline comes out of her room at the same time, fully dressed. They meet at the stairs.
Oh, it's you.
Fine, thank you, darling. Like a rock.
Well, you're dressed. Special occasion?
Work.
Ghoul, if you can call it that.
Rose appears at the bottom of the stairs. Sorry.
No. We're leaving for the dinner around 8, Rose. I'll need the masseuse and the whole team no later than 4.
But madam, tonight's my night off.
I'm sure you'll work it out. You're a wonder.
Dinner? What dinner?
You know perfectly well Helen Sharp's book party.
Oh, well, do we have to?
She sent table assignments. You're with the VIPs. I'm with the SOBs.
Oh, Helen would never do anything.
Watch your step with her, understand? If there's one thing I won't tolerate, it's infidelity.
Beach house day. A woman's fingernails run down a man's muscular, well-tanned back, leaving long white streaks behind. Madeline, supine, is making love with Dakota, a stud in his late 20s in a small beach cabana. Madeline's style is theatrical, grandiose, vocal. Dakota's movements give the distinct impression he is working on a chain gang. Madeline reaches a climax and Dakota rolls off of her. She lies still, gasping for air, staring up at the ceiling, and he pulls on a pair of shorts, goes to the window, and stretches the afternoon sun slanting across his sweaty body.
Thank God you were here. I know we were supposed to see each other tonight, but this Helen thing has got me absolutely a wreck. I bet she holds a grudge. I'm sure she does. She always resented my success with men ever since school.
Dakota is ignoring her completely as he's at a mirror now, examining his hip where he has found some excess fat.
Where does this come from?
Oh, I don't know. Out of her own insecurity, I suppose. But is that my fault? Is it my fault? I look the way I do, and she looks the way she does. Is that a reason to hate me?
Work, and you work, and you work.
And people dump on you. Exactly. She made fun of me, her and her friends, those miserable Park Avenue private school clenched tooth.
Look, you gotta...
Put it behind me. You're absolutely right. You see things so clearly. God, I feel so free here.
She looks up at a giant mirror over the bed.
Oh, God, look at that. There's an obscene little line running all the way from my eyelid to my cheekbone. How many times have I told you? No pillows.
She leaps out of bed with the sheet wrapped around her and scurries into the bathroom. Dakota rolls his eyes. Parking lot day. Ernest parks his car in a lot on what looks like a large estate. He takes his bag from the passenger seat and a belt from a bottle under the driver's and gets out. Mr. Franklin, a nervous man in a gray suit, is waiting for him at the edge of the parking lot and strides forward quickly when he sees Ernest, his face brightening.
Dr. Menville, thank God. I'm so sorry to call you at the last minute. You know how I hate the last minute. He's been completely prepped. Our top staff have all been summoned and are waiting for you.
Good. He's going to be just fine. Calm down.
Calm. I am calm. Everyone is calm here.
They round a corner, passing a sign. The first word is partially obscured by a column, but the rest is clear. Salon mortuary. Mortuary corridor. Ernest strides briskly down a corridor in the mortuary, flanked by Mr. Franklin and a growing retinue of assistants. Ernest is taking gown and gloves from the assistants as he walks, preparing for surgery.
Who is it? Someone?
Fernando Rivas, the actor. The handsome one. Our reputation's really on the line this time. His family insists on an open casket, but...
It's bad.
He drowned in his hot tub. Very bloated, very swollen. He was making love to his new fiance, 18 years old, from Cuba. He's got this expression of happiness on his face that's completely inappropriate.
They reach the embalming room.
All right, well, we'll try to give him a little character, a little depth.
Depth? Oh, no, people have to recognize him.
They sweep through the double doors and in the embalming room. Poor Fernando Rivas is visible for a second, laid out on a slab, grinning like an idiot. Chagall's day. Chagall's is a sleek, expensive salon in the middle of downtown Beverly Hills, and its front windows are smoked, making it impossible to see inside. An expensive car with a mad vanity plate pulls up to the front, and Madeline steps out. A valet whisks the car into a garage as the doorman nods discreetly to Madeline and admits her to the salon. Two tourists walking down the sidewalk try to sneak a look inside, but the doorman closes the door quickly behind Madeline, blocking the view. Inside Chagall's, customers receive haircuts, facials, and the like. Madeline comes up to the reception desk where a svelte woman in a trim dress greets her.
Good afternoon, Miss Ashton.
How are you? 3 o'clock with Anna.
Yes, I know. You can go down.
She pushes a button on her desk and the small gate buzzes. Madeline pushes through. A security guard pushes a button in the wall and an elevator gate opens. Madeline and the guard step inside. The elevator doors open on the lower level of Chagall's, and there's an exclusive, elegant place, all black leather and white carpet. The security guard leads Madeline back into the depths of the lower level. Madeline glances inside one of the rooms, and a middle-aged man reclines in a black leather examination chair, an IV stand on either side of him. One of the bags contains a deep red liquid, the other a thick blue one. The blue is being pumped into the man's left arm, and the red is being drawn out of his right. In the treatment room, Madeline is having a heated discussion with Anna, her beauty therapist.
Do you have any idea how much money I've spent in here over the years? A fortune, I can assure you.
I'm sorry, but a plasma separation is a very traumatic process for the body. Our
Drink.
policy clearly prohibits more than one in a 6-month period.
Drink.
So, it's been nearly that long.
Miss Ashton, you had one 3 weeks ago. What about a nice collagen buff instead?
A collagen buff? You might as well tell me to wash with soap and water. Tonight is important to me.
I could do your makeup myself if you...
Makeup is pointless. It doesn't do anything anymore. You're not listening to me. You don't even care. You sit there with your 22-year-old skin and your tits like rocks, and you laugh at me and you... I could pay you extra. You know what I mean on a personal basis? If that's what you're looking for, money is no object. It means nothing to me.
Anna gasp, looks over Madeline's shoulder. Jean-Paul Chagall, ageless, continental, the ultimate expression of sophistication, stands in the doorway to the room. He's elegant as hell, dressed in a black silk suit with gold flower lapel pin we may not even notice.
Monsieur Chagall.
Leave us alone, Anna.
The therapist runs out. Chagall closes the door behind.
Oh, I suppose I should apologize.
I am very sensitive to your torment.
Oh, excuse me?
Unfortunately, we are mere mortals here. We are restricted by the laws of nature.
He looks at her, his right eye fluttering. He could be winking or it could be a tick, but it's definitely odd.
Well, what more could one expect?
That depends. I couldn't help but overhear your joke about money being no object.
That wasn't a joke.
I see. Have you heard of Lisla von Roumont?
No.
Of course you haven't. Very few have. Only a select group. She may be able to help you.
He pulls out a business card and hands it to her.
This is her address. She accepts callers day or night.
He hands her the card and then pulls it back.
A very select group. You understand?
Sure.
I'm glad this happened, Miss Ashton. We'll be seeing more of you.
He leaves.
Weirdo.
Ernest drives into the parking lot of Dominic's, a friendly-looking bar on the outskirts of Beverly Hills. It's warm and an intimate place, and on one end there's a drunk, long-haired, bearded. Ernest comes in and slides onto one of the bar stools.
Hey, Dr. M.
How are you, Tony?
Can't complain. Yourself?
Could, won't.
So what can I get you?
Fill a glass with scotch,
With a little ice to wake it up?
but not wide awake.
Tony smiles and grabs a tumbler. She scoops up 2 cubes with a glass. As she works, Ernest's eyes mist over with emotion. He watches Tony's balletic movements, clearly in love with the crack of the scotch cap, the swish of the liquid, and the pop of the ice.
1 drowsy scotch. Some peanuts?
Pretzels, I think.
Just open the bag.
Out of nowhere, she produces a dish of pretzels, and Ernest smiles. He toasts the drunk at the end of the bar and drinks away. He closes his eyes as he swallows, deeply soothed, and suddenly the piece of his bar is shattered by an unmistakable voice. Madeline's.
What are you doing here?
Ernest flinches. He turns and looks up at the TV above the bar. One of Madeline's old movies is playing, the one Helen watched earlier. Young Madeline has returned home in evening clothes and is about to be killed by the intruder.
Wait a second.
Oh, hey, look, dark windows.
Madeline screams and dies.
You can turn it off now.
So, how is that wife of yours? She's 1 in a million, isn't she?
She doesn't love me anymore.
Well, let's face it, there's plenty more where she came from.
I should leave her.
You have every right.
But I took a vow. Till death do us part. And when you sin as low as I have, your word is all you have left.
And I admire you for that.
He slides a $100 bill across the bar to her. She slides it back to him.
Sympathy's on the house.
Tony, who has been wiping the bar with a towel, wipes down near the drunk. She lifts his head, wipes under it, and sets it back down gently on a little pile of cocktail napkins.
You know something? I envy him. He's really got it all. No wife, no obligations, nobody to answer to, no wife, no possessions, and no wife.
Come on, Dr. M. There's got to be a bright side.
You think so? Yeah. I'm old. Tony, before my time. I gave other people youth, but I wasted my own life with lousy choices. All I really want is to be able to start the whole darn thing again, but that just doesn't happen. You tell me, where's the bright side in that?
You still love her, don't you?
He just finishes his drink.
Yeah. Lucky bastard.
Minville Mansion, night. Madeline comes down the stairs, stunningly dressed and with an attitude. Rose descends behind her, trying to adjust something on the back of Madeline's dress.
What are you doing? Stop touching me.
The label was showing.
Don't just stand there, fix it.
I would have left you years ago if I wasn't such a masochist.
But you are, Rose. You are a masochist. This is a dream job for you. I refuse to feel sorry for you, Rose. When you have something for me to feel sorry about, please let me know. When you're 8 years old and your father walks out and leaves you and your mother in the Oakwood Trailer Park in Piscatawny, New Jersey.
Ernest comes out of the bedroom looking disheveled.
Ernest, all dressed up. Once again, you intend to be the life of the party. I'm so proud. What is this obsession you have with embarrassing me? I buy you things. Why don't you wear them? I'm not going.
Okay.
No, you're not going.
Fine.
He turns back up the stairs.
Oh, no, you're coming. You're coming. If poor Helen insists on humiliating herself, the least we can do is be there to watch. Forever young. Right. And eternally fat.
In the limo, Ernest and Madeline are riding in the back. There's a strange sound. It's Ernest who breathes loud. No special reason. He's just a loud breather. In a quiet moment like this, it really gets to Madeline.
Could you just stop breathing?
Before he can respond, a valet parker pulls their doors open and Madeline sweeps out, leaving her comment for Ernest to interpret.
Jesus, what did she do? Hire extras?
Restaurant night. The restaurant has been rented out for a private party and is packed with fashionable guests. Copies of a hardcover beauty book called Forever Young by Helen Sharp are prominently displayed here and there. Madeline makes a grand entrance with Ernest in tow.
She must have spent her entire trust fund on this.
An old woman near the door, 80 or so, and Madeline goes to her warmly.
Helen, darling, how are you?
Knock it off.
Across the room, a dishy starlet turns to Jay Norman next to her, a young-looking 25, horn-rimmed glasses and anonymous suit.
Jay, is that someone?
Sure, that's Madeline Ashton. She was a big star in the 60s.
Really? What was she in?
What are you kidding? Uptown Lover, Dark Windows, Nobody's Bride?
Oh, her. I thought she was dead. What's she done lately?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh.
What
Complain.
has he done lately?
Complain. Sue people. Love boat.
Ugh. Who's her agent?
I am.
The bar, Ernest leans, a scotch glass growing from his hand. He notices a good-looking middle-aged man next to him, smiles, and gives a little wave. The middle-aged man notices but pointedly ignores Ernest, chatting with two women. As the women turn to walk off, the middle-aged man pauses and speaks quietly to Ernest.
Sorry, Dr. Menville. If you know, they know, I know, they know why, you know.
I know. How are you, Mel?
Pretty good after 7 years, huh? I can still bounce quarters off them. You are a genius. Are a genius.
On the other side of the room, Madeline comes up behind Jay Norman, looping an arm through his.
Madeline, I was just coming to talk to you.
Can I borrow him for a second? Why haven't you?
I did call you back twice. Your machine wasn't on.
Oh, I'll have to speak to Rose about that. Did you hear anything about Roger's film?
I wouldn't get my hopes up. What did you decide about Hollywood Squares?
I'm having second thoughts. Can you get me a center square?
No, Connie Stevens has it. She's part of a package, but Charlie Weaver's old corner square is free. We could get that. I could make that a reality for you.
Which corner?
Lower left. It's a fantastic square.
Why can't I have the upper?
Let me talk to Mike.
Over at the bar, the middle-aged man has gone and Ernest is speaking to Mrs. Adams, mid-40s.
I never got a chance to tell you before, what with all the preparation, but you did a really spectacular job with my Aunt Esther.
Thank you.
Her color, her tone, you even brought out her cheekbones.
Oh, that's my job.
It was almost a shame to bury her.
That's sweet of you to say.
Can I ask what your secret is?
Spray paint. Yeah. See, dead skin just won't hold regular makeup. The pores are too dry. You have to use a palette knife and really grind the stuff in there. But one day, I thought to myself, what about mannequin paint? It's got its own chemical adhesive. It comes in an incredible variety of flesh tones. And
he trails off, and Mrs. Adams is staring at him like he's a monster. Madeline comes up as she leaves.
What is this, a joke? She's not even here.
Oh, look over there.
He points towards the front door where someone is making a hell of an entrance. They see just the top of the head moving through the crowd, then a hand that raises up and turns one lazy circle in the air, acknowledging all with the gesture. The band, a discreet string quartet, immediately strikes up their version of Forever Young. Madeline and Ernest watch the figure until it stops in the middle of the crowd, and in a moment the crowd parts, letting them see the backside of a very overweight woman. Madeline smiles wickedly, and then the overweight woman steps out of the way, revealing Helen Sharp. She looks incredible. She's dropped those 50 pounds like nothing, whipped herself into phenomenal shape, completely abandoned sweet in favor of sexy, and seems not one day older than she was 12 years ago, maybe even younger. But the most striking thing about Helen is a shining new sense of confidence. She wears a swooping, sexy gown that is held together off one shoulder with a gold flower pin we may or may not even notice. Madeline's jaw drops. So does Ernest.
My God.
We're leaving.
Don't be ridiculous, Madeline. Let's talk to her.
I'll talk to her.
Madeline is speaking with, Madeline takes
Ah!
a deep breath and crosses the room to Helen, who, to Madeline's great distress, is speaking with a gushy Jay Norman.
Just want you to know we are absolutely at your disposal. Call me anytime, day or night. You have all my numbers, don't you? Did I give you all of my numbers?
So?
Norman looks up, sees Madeline coming, and quickly turns and walks away. Madeline watches him go, hiding her irritation.
Mad!
Hell!
They kiss and fall into an embrace. As they do, Helen looks over Madeline's shoulder and sees Ernest standing forlornly on the other side of the room.
Oh, I can't get over it, Hell. Darling, 12 years, 12 long years. And look at you, you have a waist.
You haven't changed. I'm so glad you came. I didn't know if you would. But my PR woman said, Madeline Ashton, she goes to the opening of an envelope. These people can be so cruel. I almost fired her.
Oh, that was very sweet of you, dear.
The starlet comes up to Helen awestruck and shoves a copy of her book in front of her.
Would you mind?
Helen, barely noticing, signs the book while talking to Madeline, who grinds her teeth.
How has it been?
Oh, heaven, absolute heaven. Ernest is like a dream.
Oh, I'm so happy for you two.
You know, there were many times I thought to myself, I don't deserve this. I know it came at your expense. And that thought just makes me feel terrible.
Oh, please. It was so long ago. And what is he? A man. You didn't steal him. He went to you. It wasn't you. It was him.
She takes Madeline by the shoulders and speaks with utmost sincerity.
I want you to know, I have never blamed you. Never.
Party night. Ernest comes out of the bathroom, drink in hand. Helen comes up to him.
There you are. I was starting to think you were avoiding me.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
Across the room, Madeline hurries up to a table with several copies of Helen's book arrayed on it. She grabs one of them and rips through it in angry disbelief.
A beauty book?
Two fashionable women, one of them Mrs. Adams, who spoke to Ernest earlier, on either side of her, looking at a large cardboard standee of Helen.
Can you believe she's almost 50 years old?
Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
Madeline snaps the book shut angrily. She drifts across the room, following them from a discreet distance, keeping an eye on them. Garden night. Ernest and Helen walk into the garden area behind the restaurant. They can see the party still in progress through huge glass windows.
Isn't it strange, Ernest? Seeing each other after so long.
Wonderful. I mean, it's wonderful.
Thought I was never gonna get over you. You should have seen me. I was a mess. I even locked myself away somewhere upstate for months. But then I said to myself, it's time to rejoin society, with gusto. Shape up, lose some weight. I started running 3 or 4 miles a day at first, and then 10, then 15, then 20, then 25, then 30, then 32, then 33, then back down to 30, but briefly, then back up to 40, 45, 48.
So, a lot.
Right. Well, a lot is my point. And the thing that kept me going was the thought of...
She turns and looks into the party where she sees Madeline through the glass.
You.
Me?
Yes. Tell me everything about yourself. I hear the Menville Clinic's doing very well.
Oh, sure. It's like my own private oil well. We've even opened a franchise in Paris. I'm semi-retired, though. I'm fully committed to the good life.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Why? What did I say? No, all I meant was life has turned out to be a great party.
You used to hate parties.
That's when I was old. Now, well, you should see me now.
I don't know what to say. I didn't know you were so unhappy.
Never could fool you, could I?
I'm so sorry for you, Ernest. I heard about the kind of work you're doing now.
I'd sell my soul to operate again. I've wasted myself, Helen.
No, Ernest. She's wasted you. She married a brilliant surgeon. She turned him into an undertaker. I want you to know, I have never blamed you for leaving me. I always knew it was her. She's a woman. A woman, Ernest. From Newark, for God's sake.
Piscatella.
Exactly. I'm never going to forgive her for what she's done to you. Never.
He looks at her, overcome, and in the distance, Madeline is visible through the glass doors to the party, watching them. Ernest's closet. Close on a photo of Ernest and Helen taken at least 15 years ago. They're standing on a pier somewhere on the shore. It's fall. They look young. Ernest sits at his dressing table at home, staring at the photo as he unbuttons his tuxedo shirt, smiling faintly at the photo, then looking up at the mirror in front of him. He sees the ravages of the last 12 years, and his smile disappears. Off screen, he hears the faint sound of a bedroom door slamming, and he gets up and leaves the room, still holding the photo. Hurries to the top of the stairs in time to see Madeline hurrying out the front door of the house, carrying an overnight bag. Slamming the door behind her, Ernest looks back down at the photo in his hand. Beach cabana, night. Madeline hurries down a sidewalk to a small beach cabana and rings at the door. Dakota opens the door, shirtless. Madeline doesn't say a word, just slips into his arms and kisses him passionately. He kisses back, but there is reservation in it, and Madeline senses it.
What is it?
Ah, shit, that's me.
Drink! God, we've gone a long way without anybody missing their place. This is a record.
I'm sorry. Nothing. I didn't know you were coming over.
Darling, we spoke.
Yeah, but you came this afternoon, and I thought, I didn't. Just give me a second, will you?
Oh, God, you're not alone.
What are you talking about? Of course I am. I'm completely alone.
A woman's voice comes off screen.
Dakota.
Actually, completely isn't quite what I meant.
Madeline turns and walks away quickly. Hey.
Madeline.
How dare you make me feel cheap?
What? I'm drinking again. What the fuck? Oh, Madeline, I forgot. She's here to fix the.
Who is she? Who is this lump of meat?
That's what I'm trying to tell you. She's a friend of the.
Oh, Christ! At least lie quickly.
I'm trying to. You gotta believe me. This is perfectly innocent.
Madeline looks over his shoulder. Far in the background, she catches a good glimpse of a naked woman walking across the room, young and beautiful. She looks back at Dakota, her anger completely replaced by humiliation, and thunder rumbles overhead.
Hey, I'm sick of this shit. You know that? I've been doing you a favor here.
A favor? I gave you thousands of dollars. Cut me off any time.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, you gave, I gave. Big deal, you know? The other day somebody told me we look ridiculous together. How do you think that makes me feel?
I don't care.
See, you never think of my feelings.
Yeah, fuck you.
Why don't you go find someone else, someone your own age, Madeline?
These words are to Madeline as bullets shot from a gun. She stares at him as the thunder crashes right on top of them now, and the rain starts to pour down, soaking her despondent ass. Madeline is in her car, driving too fast, sobbing. The storm is really raging as she tools down Sunset Boulevard, barely making the curves. She looks up and catches sight of her mascara and tear streaked face in the rearview mirror. Horrified, she slams on the brakes. The car squeals to a stop in the middle of the road. Other cars honk and swerve past her as she dumps her purse, searching for a Kleenex. She finds it, but she also finds the two torn halves of the business card Jean-Paul Chagall gave her. Fascinated, she pieces them back together. Helen's hotel room. Helen is in front of the mirror in her hotel room, and she's messing with a strange little contraption, something like an eyedropper, filling it from a bottle marked menthol.
Are you gonna? Is that it?
Yes,
Oh,
marked
okay,
menthol.
Okay. Oh, drink. Sorry.
Yes, I started a trend. So fast.
I hate her. Oh! You know what? Drink again. Shit. Okay. God, excuse my French. I hate her. I hate her. I hate her. And where she goes, I'll follow. I'll follow. I'll follow.
The eyedropper filled, she holds it up to her eyes and squeezes each in turn, and it blows a little puff of something into her eyes, and immediately tears flow down her cheeks.
Madeline, I have to speak to Madeline at once. Not bad. Madeline, I have to speak to Madeline.
The Von Rumont mansion. Madeline drives up to the base of a long, winding driveway in the Hollywood Hills. She stops at a gate where two security guards in blue suits stand, radios in their ears, sunglasses at night, seemingly impervious to the rain. One of them steps up to the car window and she rolls it down.
Hi, I know it's late, but I was passing by and I wondered if it might be possible to see Ms. Von Rumans.
The guard says nothing, just stares at her through his sunglasses. He turns his head, checking out the inside of her car, but giving no indication he intends to let her pass.
I was given this card by...
Holds up the two pieces of the torn business card, and the guard recognizes it, immediately steps back, and she drives through to the castle at the top of the hill.
Jesus.
Interior. The impressive front door of the house is opened by an athletic guy in his 20s. Madeline stands on the step wearing sunglasses and a silk scarf that hides half her face.
Good evening. I hope it's not.
Not at all, Miss Ashton. Lisa's expecting you.
She is?
Madeline looks at him confused, but he smiles kindly enough as she enters the foyer. Madeline steps in, and the athletic guy closes the door behind her.
Wait here, please.
He walks ahead, down some stairs and into a darkened room. While Madeline waits, she hears a low humming sound from her left and turns to look. A light shines through a frosted window and a small door on the other side of the foyer. A descending light, as in an elevator door. As Madeline watches, the door swings open and two large, bizarre dogs trot out purposefully. They trot, click, 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 across the foyer and disappear down the stairs as well.
Right this way.
He goes back down the stairs and Madeline follows. Into a Gothic ballroom with an incredible view. On the other side of the room, another young man murmurs softly, leaning forward towards a woman seated on a sofa in a dark part of the room. There are 3 or 4 of these beefy guys throughout the house. The bizarre dogs are also with the woman, poised on either side. The athletic guy leads Madeline over. As they approach, the woman turns around. Liesel van Roomans is an attractive woman, ageless, firm body, beautiful, clear, tight skin. She is baroquely dressed.
I'd hoped you'd come. Sit down.
She pats the sofa.
Make room for my friend, for Christ's sakes.
He and the athletic guy leave the room.
But keep your ass handy.
She winks at Madeline, and Madeline moves a bit trepidatiously and sits next to her.
Monsieur Chagall said...
May I say that I've always thought yours to be one of the most beautiful faces to ever grace the silver screen.
Oh.
And your husband, I can only say his reputation is unsurpassed.
Oh.
I just arrived in town. I follow the spring. I haven't seen autumn or winter in years. They aren't for us. We're people of the spring, you and I, aren't we?
Listen, I'm not really sure why I'm here.
You're scared as hell of yourself. Of the body you thought you knew?
Drink.
I beg your pardon?
I am the one who understands. I am the one who knows your secret.
You are?
I'm something of an expert. You had a young man, worthless and empty, but he makes you feel like you're in your prime, more alive than the day before. You need him as one needs a gadget to measure blood pressure or heartbeats, to tell you you're alive.
You tell me I'm alive.
Now he goes, he leaves you. You can't feel your pulse. You see rings around your eyes. He's a symptom, dear, but he's not the problem.
I'm being silly. I don't know what you could possibly do to help me.
You'd be surprised.
Helen pulls up to the Menville mansion. Ernest hurries down the stairs, drink in hand, and someone's knocking frantically. He opens it to find her there in the rain.
Oh. Helen?
Madeline. I need to speak to Madeline at once.
She's not here.
Thank God.
She hugs Ernest in a tight embrace.
How'd you get in? I didn't hear the gate.
I didn't want you to hear, Ernest. Ask me to go. Ask me to leave this house immediately.
You just got here.
I know. It's crazy. Ernest, ask me to go. It took me a minute, a glimpse, and I was right back where I started. Don't pretend you're not aware of it. You're a powerful sexual being, Ernest.
I am?
You've always been.
Oh.
I never told you before. It was because I was the sort of girl who couldn't say sexual without blushing. Well, I can now. Sexual. Sensual. Sexy. Sex.
Ernest's drink slips from his hand and hits the floor with a thud. The Von Rumon mansion. Liesel is gently stroking Madeline's hand.
So warm, so full of life, and already it ebbs away from you. This is life's ultimate cruelty. It offers us a taste of youth and vitality, and then makes us witness our own decay.
Well, it is the natural law.
Lizel reaches out and creaks open an ornate wooden case that sits on the table in front of them. An old hand-tooled dagger and a beveled glass vial are sheathed inside.
Screw the natural law.
What's that?
What you came for.
She reaches into the case and pulls out the single vial. It has a silvery liquid inside, thick, strange, like mercury that seems to shimmer in the light.
A touch of magic in a world obsessed by science. A tonic. A potion.
What does it do?
How old would you guess I am?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, go on. Don't try to flatter me.
38? 37.
I am 71 years old. That's what it does. Stops the aging process dead in its tracks and forces it into retreat. Drink that potion and you will never grow old. One day. Drink that. Drink that potion and you will never even grow one day older again. Don't drink it and continue to watch yourself rot.
Menville Mansion. Ernest and Helen are on the sofa, necking passionately.
We have to stop.
Yes, we do.
Really, Ernest.
But they still kiss. When things start to get really heated, Helen pulls away and stands up.
Please don't be angry with me, Ernest. I'm fighting it as hard as I can. But just look at you.
The position Ernest is in, sitting, makes his stomach look rather pronounced. He sucks it in.
Already destroyed your career. Now she's breaking your heart. Stealing your pride. Flaunting her lovers all over town.
You know about that?
Everyone does, Ernest. At the party, people spoke of nothing else.
Oh, God. Oh, Helen, I'm so ashamed. How can you love me? I have been so weak. I should have divorced her years ago. Oh, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go down to that courthouse tomorrow and file for divorce. No, Monday. I'll do it Monday.
Ernest?
Tuesday at the latest.
Divorce, Ernest? In California? It's exactly what she wants you to do. You have no talent for poverty. You can't let her get away with that.
Oh, well, then there's nothing I can do.
Yes, there is. Ernest, we have not only the right, but the duty to repair what's ours. To regain what's ours. Sorry. Oops. To regain what's ours. And we will. Even if it means breaking every rule, every commandment.
Yes.
She has to go, Ernest.
Oh, you're right.
She has to disappear.
Okay.
You're not listening to me. My therapist showed me once and for all that for us to have a life, Madeline has to...
Die? Did she actually say that? Whatever? Did she say die?
Not exactly, but I could read between the lines.
So she didn't say that.
You said it, darling.
The Von Rumon Mansion. Madeline is studying the potion, holding it up to the light. Its refracted beams playing across her face.
Just it.
Ah, the sordid topic of coin. I'm afraid it's not so simple. The cost, you see, is different for everyone.
Well, for me, how much?
Liza looks at her, studying her. She takes a pen and writes a figure on a piece of paper. It seems to have a lot of zeros. She finishes and holds the paper in front of Madeline. Madeline stifles a gasp. Her face suddenly clears as one who has just realized they're being conned.
Well, thank you very much. I really have to be going.
Sit down.
She does.
Hold out your hand.
Madeline looks at Lizel for a second, decides what the hell, and holds out her hand. Moving like lightning, Lizel grabs her hand with one hand and reaches into the wooden case with the other, whipping out the dagger. She slits a tiny opening in the pad of Madeline's index finger.
Ouch.
She tries to pull her hand away. But Liza holds tight. She dips the dagger into the potion, picking up just a drop, and lets it fall into Madeline's cut. She loosens her hold, and Madeline snatches her hand away.
Are you crazy? You!
She stops in the middle of her sentence, letting out an involuntary gasp. Before her very eyes, her hand begins to change, to smooth out. Networks of lines disappear. The skin seems to replenish itself, and in a few seconds, it's the hand of a much younger woman. She holds it next to the other. The difference is incredible.
Check okay?
Fine.
Madeline dives into her purse and comes up with her checkbook.
But you must make me a promise. The secret we share must never become public. You may continue your career for 10 years. 10 years of perfect, unchanged beauty. But at the end of that time, before people become suspicious, you must disappear from public view forever. You can retire, you can stage your own phony death, or you can, as one of my clients said simply, chance to be alone.
You mean she's? Wow. Okay, no problem. I agree. Whatever.
She writes out her check frantically and tears it from her book, shoving it across the table. Liza smiles and slides the potion back. Madeline takes it.
Bottoms up, Billy Ray. Bottoms up.
Bottoms up.
Now, a warning.
Now a warning?
Take care of yourself. You and your body are going to be together for a long time. Be good to it. Sempre viva!
Mansion hallway. Madeline is let out of the mansion by the same athletic guy who admitted her. She follows behind him, headed for the door. She turns to a mirror on the wall next to her, and as she watches, she undergoes an amazing transformation. The crow's feet at the corners of her eyes smooth out with a little hissing sound. Smile lines at the sides of her mouth disappear with a pop. Her skin smooths, tightens, and she takes off 15 years just as we look at her. And that's not all. Her butt seems to lift and define itself. Her breasts do the same, regaining old form and tone. An enormous grin spreads across her face, and she flushes with color. She turns to the athletic guy, the only one around, with a look of absolute incredulity on her face.
Did you? I'm a girl.
Midville Mansion. Ernest is pacing in front of Helen, who sits on the couch, and he has a scotch glass that he continually refills.
Let's go over the plan one more time.
Okay.
Tonight, while she's asleep, you take one of each kind of glass, highball, wine, and water, from the dining room cabinet. Then you take the Narcanol and dust each glass lightly with it. Tomorrow I'll call Madeline and say, I want to come and say goodbye, that I have a present for her.
Foyer. Madeline is on the phone, dressed casually in workout gear.
Fine. Why not come for dinner?
And at dinner, no matter what she has to drink, the Narcanol will be in the glass. I've used a phony name to register. This cellular phone, which you will use to call the police.
Ernest, the picture of civic responsibility, is talking on the cellular phone.
There's some drunk woman up here on Mulholland swerving dangerously close to the edge.
Police dispatch.
Oh, mute. Quick, dispatch your unit up there before she kills somebody.
Madeline's car. Ernest and Helen dump alcohol all over her car, chucking the empties in the back.
Put your foot down on the accelerator.
Does.
Drop the car in gear.
Does.
And we'll send her on her way.
And they do.
What are we saying? We can't go through with it.
She's killing you, Ernest. It's self-defense.
Self-defense.
Tomorrow, then?
Tomorrow.
The mansion. Madeline pulls up in front. Were she not obsessed with looking at her own image in the car's rearview mirror, she would be able to see Helen as she gets into her car and drives away. Madeline enters the mansion and throws her keys and bag on the front table. She pauses to admire herself, then heads upstairs, sweeping past Ernest, who is in the living room pacing. He watches as she goes upstairs. Madeline's in her room, climbing out of her still soggy clothes. Her phone rings and she picks it up.
Hello? Well, you've got one hell of a lot of nerve calling me after. Oh, knock it off. I just have one thing to say to you. I had a little too much to drink tonight and I overreacted. It It was a ridiculous display of emotion, particularly, I'm sure you'll agree, over someone like you. That's all. What? Oh, please, you don't mean that. Who do you think you're talking to? Well, aren't you presumptuous? What makes you think I'll forgive you? I don't know. I have to warn you, you may be a little too old for me very soon. You'll fall in love, make a scene. What? Say that again. You'll do what?
She hears something, turns, and there's Ernest, who's heard every word.
Unspeakable.
Madeline casually kicks the door shut in his face.
Fine, I'll be there in 20 minutes. Just try not to humiliate yourself.
10 minutes later, Madeline steps out of the closet, her hair pulled back in a seductive fashion and her body poured into a sexy dress. She goes to the mirror.
My God, it fits.
She opens the door and Ernest is still there.
Unspeakable.
Yes, Ernest, unspeakable. Have another drink and go to bed.
Hallway.
You'd like that, wouldn't you? For me to drink myself into an early grave. Well, it's not going to happen. It's my money and I'm going to keep it.
What are you talking about?
You haven't worked in years. Not a real job. Anything you had left, you owed me long ago. Your face owed me.
He notices her, the way she looks.
By the way, did you change your makeup?
Don't wait up.
Cheap.
What did you say?
I called you cheap, Madeline. A cheap little tramp who's every day less like a lady and more like a broad.
Who do you think you're talking to? Who do you think you are? You're nothing but a rich failure.
Watch what you say. I don't have to take it anymore.
You'll take whatever I give you. You always have. You are pathetic, Ernest. You're a tragic, boozy clown. You're not really even a man anymore, are you? How long's it been? Long enough so you're afraid to try anymore. That's how long.
Ernest is fuming, his face going completely red. He turns away from her and grips the railing, his fingers turning white with tension.
Well, that's not good enough for me. I need a man, a real man, not some drunken undertaker who's just as dead below the waist as his clients are. You.
Ernest turns and grabs Madeline around the throat, pressing his thumbs against her windpipe. His face is grim, set, his body rigid. He is a killer. Madeline chokes, gasps, flails with her arms.
Cruel, vicious, lonesome.
They stagger about. Her arms knock over a vase. Her fingers gouge his cheek. Still, his hold on her neck remains tight. He backs her over the top of the stairs, and she speaks a death gasp. Ernest's eyes soften. His face washes over with awareness and reprehension of what he's doing. He releases his hold on Madeline and backs away, staring at his hands and at her in horror.
Oh, God, Madeline, oh, darling, I'm so sorry.
She teeters on her feet, precariously balanced at the top of the stairs, her arms flailing but finding nothing to cling to. Ernest's eyes widen as he studies her delicate position. He looks behind her down the steep, winding staircase. He looks down at her feet, barely balanced on her high heels.
Hurry, you miserable failure!
Ernest cuts her off, reaching out just ever so slightly and jabbing his finger into the middle of her chest. The tiny impact is enough to tip her over, backwards, over the top of the staircase. For one brief moment, she is suspended there like Wile E. Coyote. And then she's gone. She tumbles down the stairs, a long, hard, painful fall in which she doesn't miss a single step. There are unmistakable crunching sounds, and finally she lands in a grotesquely tangled heap of arms and legs at the bottom of the stairs. Ernest stands at the top, hands clutched in his mouth like a mischievous child. For a few seconds, nobody moves. Finally, Ernest summons his courage and starts down the stairs timidly, one at a time, trying not to look at Madeline's still form. He reaches the bottom. Madeline's face looks up at him. Unfortunately, her body is lying face down. Her head is turned almost completely around, her neck certainly broken.
Oh, my.
He bends down closer to her and moves his fingers along her neck near her jugular. He holds them there for a moment, searching for a pulse, but finds none.
Oh, my.
He stands and backs a few unshaky steps away from her. He finds himself next to the liquor cart and hurriedly pours a glass of scotch, an entire 8-ounce glass of scotch, and he drinks from it greedily. Bolstered by the liquor, he turns and walks back over to Madeline again, checks her pulse, and then jerks his hand away and wipes it on his pants. She's plenty dead. He turns and walks across the room, trying to compose himself. Struck by an idea, he runs to the telephone table. He pulls a scrap of paper, checks a number, and dials it. He's waiting on someone to answer. He looks apprehensively across the room towards Madeline's corpse. It ain't going nowhere. He turns around, not able to look at it.
Suite 1110, please. Alan, it's me, Ernest Menville. I did it. I didn't think I'd be able to do it, but I pushed her down the stairs, and she's absolutely stone cold. And she was saying the most monstrous things, and she's dead. And I did it, and I didn't think I could, but there was just this feeling inside me that I couldn't contain. And then we're free. But I'm afraid I'm going to burn in hell. Her neck is broken, and there's no pulse. And I pushed her down the stairs, and she's dead.
Drink twice, 2 dead.
Drink.
Helen's hotel room. Helen is in her hotel room dressed in jeans and a Just Do It t-shirt, running on a treadmill, phone to her ear.
I froze her. I'm frozen. Can you guys hear me?
No, we can
Yep.
see you.
Oh, yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, I'm back. Okay,
character.
good. Which part of the plan were you unclear on?
No, Helen, no.
Because we went over it 3 times.
Oh, you don't understand. This is better. It was an accident. At least it'll look like one.
Have you called the police?
No, I called you first thing.
We see Helen's hotel room. She's a stalker. Continue.
Ernest, you poor sweet thing. If the police check the phone records, don't you think it'll look unusual that you called me before you called them?
Oh, God, you're right.
Of course I'm right.
I'd better call them right now.
No! We have to decide what you're going to say first.
Well?
I'm thinking.
Ernest drums his fingers on the desk nervously, waiting. He's sitting with his back to Madeline's corpse, but visible behind him. As he waits, something funny happens with Madeline's body. It moves, just a twitch, really. It might not even have happened.
Okay, I've got it. Where's her body?
Drink.
Oh. At the foot of the stairs.
Stairs, good. Don't move her. You'll tell me when you're on the phone. You'll tell them you were on the phone with me and you heard a terrible scream and you turned around and saw Madeline fall down the stairs.
Right. Perfect.
Behind them, Madeline begins to disentangle herself from her own wreckage. She pulls a twisted leg over her head and brings it back down into place. She pries a limp wrist off the floor and lets it fall over at her side. Behind them, Madeline stands up, disoriented, turns around, and is facing Ernest. Or so her face is facing Ernest anyway. Her head is still twisted completely around, so while she's looking at Ernest, her body is headed in the other direction. She blinks, not really seeming to get it.
Stick to that story. If they ever check the phone records, we'll just confirm what you told them.
Got it. Madeline, facing Ernest, backs across the room towards him, and he doesn't hear her.
One thing, though. What about the time of death? Do you think they could ever use it to prove the phone call came after?
Madeline comes all the way up behind Ernest and stands there, staring down at him.
No. Time of death can only be determined within a few hours. It's not an exact science.
Ernest?
He waves her off.
And not an exact...
Ernest!
He waves her off again.
Not an exact...
He stops, realizing the implication of Madeline's voice. He turns around.
You pushed me down the stairs.
Holy Jesus Christ!
Ernest? Ernest!
You pushed me down the stairs!
Oh, no. You stay away from me.
You bet I will. Animal psycho.
Don't come near me.
Wife pusher.
Don't come near me. Don't come near me or follow me. Don't come near me or follow me or talk to me.
I don't need to. I don't want to. I don't intend to. I just need to make a telephone call. You're in the shit house now, pal.
Oh, Madeline, look at yourself.
Ernest.
She looks down, confused, and finds herself looking at her own backside.
My ass. I can see my ass.
There's something wrong with your neck.
Yes, I would say so. I would fucking well say so. Ernest, what's wrong with me?
The phone starts to ring. They ignore it.
It's a dislocated neck. That's what it is. It could happen. I've never heard of it happening, but it could happen.
Madeline walks up to a chair and she turns around as one ordinarily would to sit, but now the front of her body is facing the chair. She tries to sit, but her knees don't want to bend that way. She turns around so her face is facing the back of the chair along with the back side of her body. Now she sits, her face looking at the back of the chair.
What the hell is going on?
Dislocated neck. You have a dislocated neck.
That's it.
Ow.
Just do it.
Ernest swallows. He takes a deep breath, goes to her, and gingerly lays one hand on either side of the neck. He pulls them away and backs off.
I can't. I can't.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
She grabs a hold of her own head and with one powerful twist of her hands and a disgusting crunch, takes it back around to the front. She blinks.
I think I need a doctor.
UCLA hospital. Ernest's car squeals to a halt outside the UCLA emergency room, banging into the rear end of an ambulance. A valet takes one step forward, but Ernest leaps out of his car and shouts at her.
She's at death's door!
Examination room. Madeline sits on the table in a small examination room, a thermometer in her mouth. Ernest paces in front of her, frantic, taking an occasional shot from a flask. Dr. Selwyn Harris, 60-ish, tired, sweeps across the doors. Heron has been in the emergency room for 20 years and sees... It has seen every conceivable human ailment, none of which shock him anymore. Ernest shouts at him.
She's at death's door!
Oh, well, why don't we just let me be the judge of that, all right? What seems to be the trouble?
I fell down the stairs.
Oops, okay. Anything broken?
No, I don't think so. It would hurt, wouldn't it?
I should think so, yes.
Well, maybe my wrist and my neck's a little out of whack.
All right, let's have a look, shall we?
He pulls out the blanket and reaches for Madeline's hand.
Your left wrist?
Yes.
He takes the hand and holds it carefully, turning it a bit, poking here and there.
Does it hurt when I do this?
No.
It doesn't?
No.
What about this?
No.
This?
Oh, no.
This doesn't hurt.
Well, no.
You're telling me that it doesn't hurt when I do this?
Yes, that's what I'm telling you, okay? It doesn't hurt.
No. You said something about your neck.
Feels funny when I turn it.
Harris leans over her, pulling her collar back to have a look. His eyes widen and he steps back quickly, wiping his hand on his pants.
Okay, I see. Right, gotcha.
Did you check for shock? Just check for shock.
See, could be shock.
He unbuttons her blouse a few buttons for his stethoscope and puts it to her chest. He listens a moment, then moves it to a new area. A look of confusion crosses his face. He stands up, chucks the stethoscope in the trash can, and goes to a cabinet on the other side of the room. Madeline and Ernest look confused. Harris comes back with another test stethoscope, much larger. He puts it to her chest.
What is it?
Interesting.
Takes her temperature.
Okie dokie. Well, I think that about covers it.
Another sip.
Wonder if I might have a sip of that.
Of course.
He hands the doctor the flask and he takes a long gulp.
Thank you very much.
Not at all.
All right. Your wrist, as far as I can tell, is fractured in 3 places. You've also shattered 2 vertebrae in your neck, although it's impossible to say without x-rays. Still, there's some bone protrusion through the skin, which can't really be called a good thing. Your body temperature is below 80 degrees, and your heart has stopped beating.
What the hell does that mean?
I believe... I'd like a second opinion.
He goes out of the room.
Could be worse.
This is ridiculous. I've got to see for myself.
He goes to Madeline.
What are you doing? Stop it. Get away from me.
My God. Oh my God, he's right.
Don't be ridiculous. He can't be right. What would it mean if he was right?
This is incredible. You're in violation of every natural law I know.
Madeline gasps. She covers her mouth in horror and stands.
You're standing there.
Oh, shit.
You're talking to me.
Oh, shit.
But you're dead.
Right?
Oh. I gotta get help.
Madeline promptly faints. Hospital corridor. Ernest hurries out of the room and into the corridor looking for somebody, anybody, but the emergency room is a chaotic place full of gunshot victims, stabbing victims, and bizarre domestic incidents of all kinds. The admitting nurse is having an argument with a rude woman who keeps shoving a noodle at her. Noodle poodle, potato patata.
Look, this just isn't that kind of hospital.
Excuse me, I need... Look, my wife is really...
Ernest follows the nurse into the room.
Would you please just
Hit him again.
Ernest looks closer. The patient is dressed in hospital greens. He looks familiar. He's Dr. Harris. Beep! The EKG line goes flat.
Oh.
Examination room. Ernest hurried back into Madeline's examination room, but Madeline is gone. A second doctor, younger, corporate looking, is there filling out a form on her clipboard.
Where is she?
Terribly sorry, sir. I know how difficult this must be.
No, you don't understand. She wasn't. she didn't. It's hard to explain.
I know it is. How can anybody explain it?
Where did you put her?
Don't worry about that right now. Just give yourself some time to grieve.
Where the hell did you put my wife?
She's dead, sir. They took her to the morgue.
Hey.
The morgue? She'll be furious.
Bastard.
Hospital corridor. Ernest steps off the elevator and hurries down another corridor, frantic, rubbing his head in confusion, trying like hell to comprehend what's going on.
Can't be. Just can't be.
He sees three nuns walking towards him, dressed in full habit, sobbing uncontrollably. Ernest stares at them. He's in the morgue now. The hospital, it's a dark, white-tilled, white tiled place with silver doors and the walls leading to the you-know-whats. A morgue worker in a white lab coat hovers over a dead priest who is on one of the slabs, ready to start undressing him. The worker hears a strange sound, then shrugs and goes back to the priest, unbuttoning his collar. After a few moments, he hears it again.
Those guys.
Ernest comes in frantic.
Can I help you?
He stops.
Hello.
Sorry, I need to see my wife. She was just brought in.
Oh yeah. You got some forms to fill out, and you have to sign for her clothes.
I will. I just I need to see her alone for a minute, to say goodbye.
Well, okay. I understand. She's in here. Just a couple of minutes, okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
She pulls her out.
Ernest? Oh, yes. Yes, it's me, darling.
When I woke up, it was dark and I was yelling and yelling, but nobody could hear me and I didn't know where I was and I was scared. And Ernest, I'm in the morgue. Why am I in the morgue?
It's okay. Listen to me. I understand what's going on. It's incredible. It's physically impossible, but I understand it now.
They think I'm dead, Ernest.
You
Great.
are.
Oh, yeah.
You are. But you're not. In the whole of recorded medical history, this has never.
Uh-oh.
In the whole of recorded medical history, that has never ever happened to a single human being.
So why did it have to happen to me?
Don't you know what you are, Madeline? You're a sign. You're an omen. You're a burning bush.
I am?
Of course you are. We're being told we belong together. And I'm being called. I'm being challenged. I have to fix you. I have to reassemble that which I have torn asunder. It's also clear to me now. It's as if I've been struck dumb by many tablets, heavy stone tablets. Don't you understand, Madeline? God has intervened. It's a miracle.
Hallway night. The morgue worker has cornered two orderlies who are folding body bags and is talking to them in the corridor.
I'm just saying, I don't think it's funny. What if the families were around?
What are you talking about?
The door to the morgue bangs open. Ernest and Madeline come out of the morgue and walk past them as casually as possible.
False alarm.
Menville Mansion, night. Helen, dressed in a black now, is at the gate of the Menville Mansion, peering through the bars of the darkened house. Trying to see something, anything, but all is dead. Suddenly the gate itself hums. Helen steps back confused. From down the street, headlights flash across her. She turns and darts over to the car parked at the curb. She hides behind it as Ernest's car zooms past. Helen creeps back to the gate as it closes. Through the binoculars, she sees Ernest jump out of the car, run across the passenger door, pull out Madeline's lifeless body, and drag it into the house.
Oh my God.
She folds the binoculars and sticks them in her pocket, scampers up to the gate. Ernest backs the car up fast, does a wide turn in reverse, and stops just a few inches from Helen. He drops it into forward, punches the gas, and squeals the hell out of the driveway again. Helen leaps up and runs down the driveway, squeezing through the gate just before it closes and running for the car. She jumps in as Ernest's taillights disappear down the block. Helen is following Ernest on an almost abandoned road somewhere. She has a tape in the cassette player, and she's singing along like a mantra in her car.
I will follow him.
Up ahead, Ernest slowly turns into an unlit driveway.
What is this?
Mortuary. Helen kills her lights and coasts to a stop just down the driveway from the mortuary itself. She peers over her steering wheel. Ernest is out of his car and standing at the back door of the mortuary, shaking hands with a man in a white coat. Two more guys come out of the mortuary carrying jugs of some kind of liquid, strange-looking tools, hoses, and the like.
What in God's name is...
On the street, Helen is following Ernest again, this time on Sunset Boulevard in Beverly Hills. He stops at a light. Helen stops behind him. She looks up ahead of them to the right and sees a sign for the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Oh, shit!
She cranks her wheel and punches the gas, tearing out ahead of Ernest through the intersection against the light and into the driveway of the hotel, smacking into a luggage cart.
Ernest, thank God.
Oh, did we not have a valet?
Oh,
we do now.
I'll be the valet. Oh, evening, Miss Sharp.
He doesn't answer.
I'll be the valet. There's a lot of good valets in L.A.
Just flying past.
Helen's hotel room. Helen is in her hotel room, frantically showing the evidence of her Madeline obsession into the sitting room, and she pulls the door shut on it all. Ernest waits patiently outside suite 1110. He's about to knock again when Helen opens the door.
Ernest, thank God. Tell me right now, what's going on?
Well, it's very difficult for me to say, Helen. Madeline and I have had a reconciliation.
Ernest, that's sick.
Please, I have to be brief. She's waiting for me. I'm going to do some work on her.
Oh my God, you're completely insane.
What?
Ernest, I followed you. I had to. I saw her, Ernest. Madeline is dead.
Well, yes, but not in the usual sense. Please don't try to be illogical about it. It's a waste of time. It's a miracle. That's all I can tell you.
Stop this, Ernest. You're suffering through some kind of psychotic episode.
I should get back.
Snap out of it!
You'll be suspicious.
He throws water in his face.
May I have a towel, please?
God, Ernest. I thought you had a plan. You're gonna get us both in one hell of a lot of trouble.
Helen, you're not looking at the big picture here.
Okay, you've already waited too long to call the police. We're gonna have to get rid of the body ourselves. To just report her missing, that's all.
I think she's...
Body.
I think she's fine back at the house.
The house? Don't be ridiculous. She'll start to smell.
Well, why do you think I picked up the formaldehyde?
Oh, you poor son of a bitch.
Helen, if you would just listen for a moment.
Body disposal.
Right?
Let's see.
Body disposal.
We're in California. We got the ocean, the desert.
Helen!
Grabs her and sits her down on the edge of the bed.
I love you. I always have, and I always will. But I have a duty to Madeline. I never meant to break your heart, but goodbye, Helen. I'm leaving now.
I know. Did it again.
Minville Mansion, morning, sun shining, birds singing, crickets cricketing, and old Dotson parks in front of the Minville Mansion, 3 people inside. Rose gets out and goes to the main gate, punches in a code. The sun shines on Ernest, who snores softly. Rose and 2 maids have come in through the kitchen entrance, ready to start their day. They've stopped in their tracks, staring at the kitchen, which is a disaster. The contents of the refrigerator, everything is just all fucked up.
What in God's name?
Waste.
Well, I'm sure they had their reasons.
Madeline is inside the refrigerator. crumpled slightly to fit, dressed in a terry cloth robe and slippers. Her body, is
This scene is not in the movie.
her body is completely blue with red and white patches here and there.
Close the door.
Yes, ma'am.
She does. In the living room, Rose sees Ernest sleeping on the sofa, and she hurries over to him and shakes him.
Dr. Menville. Dr. Menville.
No. Good morning, Rose. Is it up yet?
Well, sir, it's in the fridge.
Right. I know. Don't worry. Nothing to worry about.
Sir.
It's just a beauty thing. She read it in a magazine. Can you believe she actually did it? Wait here.
Ernest goes in the kitchen and finds Madeline stuck in the refrigerator.
I saw you. I told them it was a beauty thing. Put some avocado on your face or something.
They'll think I'm crazy.
We can only hope.
Why am I so stiff?
Oh, rigor mortis. Try to walk it off. Hurry up.
In the living room.
Listen to me carefully, all of you. Mrs. Menville and I are going to Europe. We've sold the house to a buyer who will be here in a few days. I've given you each 1 year's salary, but I'm afraid.
This is when Madeline exits from the kitchen, her face green with an impromptu avocado mask.
Oh, good morning, darling.
Good morning, everyone. It's me, perfectly fine, as you can see. Just a Swedish skin thing.
She waves, but with her broken wrist, her hand flops back unnaturally. It seems stuck, so she pulls it forward.
Yes, I'm sorry, but I'm afraid you'll have to all leave this morning.
They don't answer.
Now, actually.
But sir, we were happy here.
So are we. Thank you all very much for everything. Have lovely lives.
Madeline's bedroom. Madeline is there staring into a mirror morosely.
Oh, God, that was close. That was too close. We can't risk people seeing you again. Think of the publicity.
Publicity? Well, publicity.
Don't even think about it.
Oh. Why am I so sweaty, Ernest?
Oh, it's not sweat, darling. You're defrosting. I have to make you presentable now.
It's hopeless, completely hopeless. And I look so good.
You will again. Remember the kind of work I used to do? Well, I'm going to be even better. You're going to be my masterpiece.
Menville, third floor. Use surgical equipment and empty jugs of formaldehyde lie piled in a corner of the third floor. It's quiet except for a strange sound. It's familiar, but a little hard to place at first. Chugga, 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 shh. Chugga, 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 shh. Spray paint. He's spray painting the shit out of Madeline. Trying to make her all sorts of undead. After he gets rid of all that fucking spray paint.
The phone keeps ringing. I'm lying on the bed and my face is down. And then I say, who keeps calling?
Hold still. This is the tricky part.
What are you doing down there?
Tan line, darling.
Ellen's hotel room. A bellhop comes in.
Miss Sharp, you've asked for the maps of Death Valley.
Just leave them on the table, thank you. Wait a minute. When does the sun go down tonight?
About an hour, I think.
Perfect.
Hardware store. Helen's there with a clerk.
Did we get to one you didn't assign, Billy Ray?
Nope, I don't think so.
No, that's
Then someone's drinking.
Drink!
I'm going in. 2 shovels, 1 pick, 50 feet of rope, 1 large plastic tarp, 2 pairs of gloves, 2 pairs of rubber boots, and a 10-pound bag of line.
Oh.
That gonna do it for you, or can I get you a headstone and go with this?
Third floor. Madeline sits with her back to us. Ernest hovers in front of her, holding an artist's palette and several small brushes. He's in a creative frenzy. He does something wrong over one eye and reaches for a small jug of turpentine. He finds it empty.
Damn, hold still.
Where are you going?
I need more turpentine.
Aren't we done yet?
The shadows under your eyes are unbalanced. Do you want people to stare?
The door at the top of the staircase to the third floor slaps open, and Ernest fills the doorway, looking like a mad scientist. Ernest comes down the main staircase humming to himself, happier than we've ever seen him. He reaches the bottom, turns to head for the garage, and stops dead in his tracks. Helen is standing right in front of him, burdened with shovels, picks, and everything else she brought in the hardware store.
Where is she?
God, and what are you doing here?
What is that on your face? Is that blood?
No, it's paint.
Paint? What are you doing that you have paint on your face?
Painting.
Are you doing something funny with Madeline?
Define funny.
Come on, Ernest, cough her up.
Helen, I really think we should talk outside.
I hear you whispering.
She's resting. She's in a foul mood.
Oh, please.
She'll hear you.
Seems Madeline can, in fact, hear them. She stands on the landing, out of their view, and ours too. All we see of her is her hand, fully restored, resting on the banister at the top of the stairs.
She's not resting. She's dead. Ernest, just like we wanted. Just like we plotted. Together, remember?
Right. Madeline's hand curls into a claw.
May have done it alone, but I can't walk away from it now, not with you putting us both in jeopardy like this. We're going to bury her in Death Valley and be done with her once and for all.
Helen, please, just
Stop
listen.
waffling. She deserved it. Ernest, she was a homewrecker. She was a man-eater. And she was a bad actress.
Madeline's fingernails scrape down the banister, leaving 5 long, deep scratches.
Believe me, Helen, she's not ready to be buried. She's upstairs.
Okay, fine. Why don't you ask her to come down? Why don't you tell her to come right down here, walk right up to me, and kiss me on the...
Kiss you on the what?
They turn and look up. Madeline stands at the head of the stairs, now in full view, hands on hips, dressed to kill in a pair of skin-tight pants and a loose blouse. She looks absolutely ravishing, better than she did the night she first took the potion. Ernest has even given her a healthy suntan.
Mad!
Ew!
Darling!
What are you two plotting down there? Or should I say, what else?
Helen stares at her, absolutely shocked out of her skin. Madeline starts down the stairs, and as we watch her, there should be only one word in our minds: hips.
My God, it's alive.
Are you angry, honey?
It's alive, and it's beautiful.
Are you very angry, dear?
Madeline ignores him. She's calm, too calm.
Oh, boy.
He grabs her by the arm and starts leading her away out onto the terrace, which is through 2 sliding glass doors.
I think you'd better go right now. I see a very bad situation developing here.
How can this be? This isn't possible. I saw her, Ernest. She was dead.
Helen, please.
And now she's got a suntan.
Ernest hears a creaking sound behind him and turns back to Madeline at the fireplace. The shotgun case next to the fireplace is hanging open. So is one of the drawers in its base, which is filled with shells. Ernest's eyes widen as Madeline snaps shut the barrel of an enormous shotgun and points it straight at Helen. He tries to shout, but nothing comes out.
I just want you to know one thing, Hal. You brought this on yourself.
Boom! Madeline pulls the trigger on both barrels, and Helen catches the shot in the midsection, is thrown through the air, and comes to rest in an enormous fountain out on the terrace.
I should have done that years ago.
What have you done?
What have I done? Defended myself. That's what, you plotter, you co-conspirator. Check it out. Right in the fountain.
Ernest runs to her, floating in the fountain.
He's dead. She is? Oh, these are the moments that make life worth living.
My God. Madeline, that was horrible. That was brutal. That was stupid. The police, Madeline, the police.
What are they going to do? Give me the gas chamber? Big deal.
Life in prison, then. Do you know what that means for a person in your condition?
You are so negative. Can't you just once let me enjoy a moment?
What about that gunshot? What if the neighbors ask questions?
What question? What questions? What neighbors? In 12 years in Los Angeles, have you ever seen a neighbor?
I have to think. One of us has to be rational.
I'm completely rational. We're going to bury her, Ernest, in Death Valley, you and me.
I'll do no such thing.
Oh, no? That's a pretty strong talk for a murderer on the run. Let's face it, Ernest, that's exactly what you are. What if the police were to receive an anonymous phone call about you and found me upstairs dead? If anybody could play dead, Ernest, it's me. What would you tell them? I'm sure you'd be very popular in prison.
Double drink.
Yep.
I'll get the shovels.
Oh, yeah.
And he even paid for the hardware. Don't you just love it?
Ernest drops all the burial supplies next to the fountain and starts to unfurl it.
Oh, help me. I'm not going to be your accomplice all by myself.
Well, today certainly shaped up in a hurry, didn't it?
Behind them, Helen slowly stands up in the fountain. She's dripping wet and with a big blackened see all the way through hole in the middle of her stomach. She towers over Madeline.
Did you ever notice how some days can start out so shitty and then all of a sudden something wonderful happens and your whole outlook just...
She turns to the fountain to where Helen's body is or was. Instead of looking at the fountain, she's looking right through the hole in Helen's stomach.
That was totally uncalled for.
Ernest turns around, sees Helen and screams. His knees go out on him and he bangs to the floor in a sitting position. Madeline backs quickly away from Helen and trips over him. Helen starts to climb out of the fountain. Ernest and Madeline scramble away.
Ernest, look at me. Just look at me. I'm soaking wet.
And there's a little problem with your
Don't sugarcoat it, Ernest. I got a hole in my stomach.
It's another miracle.
It is not, you fraud. 48 miles a day, my ass.
He walks over to Helen and flips back her collar, revealing a shining Sempraviva pin just like her own.
This is your beauty book? This is your secret? You took the potion.
How do you know about it? You took the potion too.
Took what?
That's why you look the way you do. And you are dead.
Drink.
A very select group. Ah, some selection. If they let you in.
What do you mean, if they let me in? I took it in New York years ago, way before you.
What are you two talking about?
The potion.
The potion.
What potion?
I paid everything I had. And now look at me. I'm soaking wet.
Don't forget that.
And I've got a hole in my stomach.
You both took a potion?
Can you just try to keep up?
A satanic potion.
Well, I hope that little hole in your stomach teaches you a lesson.
I don't think this is a miracle at all.
You see what happens to people who obsess about their weight? And as a friend, let me just say I'd stay out of a bathing suit if I were you. People might call you a...
Bang! Something big and heavy hits Madeline on the head from behind and she sails off her feet. Helen stands behind her soaking wet with a hole in her stomach and holding one of her shovels. Madeline stands up, her neck broken again, her head banging over her back. She grabs her head by the hair and lifts it back into place, although her vertebrae have become hopelessly tangled again. Ernest claps his hand to his mouth in shock. Helen goes to the fountain, grabs the other shovel, and tosses it to Madeline, a challenge.
En garde, bitch.
That's the finish your drink line.
All right.
Oh, God, I've got a full fucking glass.
Well done.
Ah. Oh, no. The women start to circle each other, wielding the shovels like broadswords.
Watch yourself, Madeline. You're not screwing with the same old Helen.
Did anyone?
Now, hold on, girls. Why don't we all just go into the kitchen and sit down and have a really good...
Playing. Ernest ducks at the last second as the women swing the shovels at each other.
I thought you'd learn not to compete with me. I always win.
You won, but you never played fair.
Clang! Ernest backs away from them slowly up the stairs. The women's shadows fall on the stairs around him as they pitch an unholy battle, shouting, clanging the shovels.
You're a sore loser. Who cares if I played fair? I won, period.
Clang!
Just because you could raise your legs higher and wider than anyone.
Clang!
You mean better than anyone.
Clang! Ernest reaches the top of the stairs and stops, staring down at them in horror.
I'll be upstairs.
On the third floor, while the crashing and clanging rages on, Ernest, looking like a man at the end of his rope, silently trudges up to his sanctuary. Downstairs, the battle rages on. Madeline swings at Helen, misses, and her shovel cracks off in the middle of the handle. Realizing she has a spear now, she chucks it at Helen, but it sails through the hole in Helen's midsection and sticks in the sofa.
Wait a minute. This is pointless. Nothing even hurts. We can't even cause each other pain.
Pain?
She bops Madeline on top of the head with her shovel, and Madeline's head disappears down between her shoulders.
You want to talk about pain? Bobby O'Brien? Scott Hunter? Ernest Manville. That's pain. I loved every one of them, and they loved me.
She stops as Madeline, who's been struggling to reset her head on her shoulders while Helen was speaking.
I will not speak to you again until you put your head on straight.
She does.
They were all I had, and you took them away. Not because you loved them, not because you cared, but just to hurt me. You hurt me on purpose!
That's not true!
Liar!
You were the one who attacked me!
Me?
Did you think I was blind? Did you think I was deaf? Did you think I never heard what you and your snotty little friend said about me behind my back? You thought I was cheap, didn't you?
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Oh, then how come you never once invited me to a party at your parents' place?
We didn't think you'd feel comfortable. It just wasn't... Could you stop that?
Madeline's head is drooped again, forward this time, her chin banging into her sternum.
It just wasn't usual for us to have.
Trash in the house, say it.
You're avoiding the issue. You stole my boyfriends and hurt me on purpose.
I did not.
Admit it.
You admit it. Look me in the eye and tell me you thought I was cheap.
Okay.
Well, oh, sorry.
I thought you were cheap.
Well, I hurt you on purpose.
There's a long pause while they both digest this information, deciding what to do with it. Madeline chews her lip, absolutely agonizing over the next words.
And I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
And just like that, the air goes out of their feud. They drop their shovels and drop onto the couch in relief on opposite ends. There's a long pause while they take stock of their situations. Helen looks down at the hole in her stomach. She sees she has inadvertently leaned back against the shovel handle, which is now protruding through her midsection. Madeline finds a decorative African neck piece and wedges it down over her own head so that it supports her neck. Helen pulls the shovel handle out morosely and starts to cry.
Hey, don't do that.
Helen continues to cry a little harder now. She's not the driven Helen she used to be. She's more like the mousy Helen she was years ago. Madeline slides down the sofa closer to her and puts her arm around her, takes a glass of water from the table.
Hell, honey, what's wrong?
What's wrong? Look at me. For 12 years, I put every ounce of energy I had into hating you. All I wanted was you dead. All I wanted was revenge. Well, now I've got it, and it just feels hollow.
Drink. She drinks the water, which almost immediately drops out of the hole in her stomach.
Oh, come on. I'll wipe it up.
I don't care about that. I have a hole in my stomach. What am I supposed to do?
On the third floor, a scalpel thunks into the wall a few feet to the right of Ernest's still unmolested dartboard. Ernest sits morosely in a chair. He's all sorts of fucked up in the head now. His eyes widen and a faint smile crosses his lips as the shadows of the two women fall on the wall on either side of him.
Ernest,
He turns. They're pals now.
Helen and I want to apologize for our little quarrel. It's out of our systems now. Completely gone, honest.
And thank God. It was awful. Hurting her, hating her, envying her at the same time.
You envied me?
Did not.
Excuse me.
Did you? What specifically about me did you envy?
Well, your grade point for one thing.
No kidding.
Excuse me. I just want to tell you both that I've come to a very important, long overdue decision. I'm leaving.
Leaving? What do you mean leaving?
We need you.
I promised Helen you'd fix her.
And Maddie needs work too. You can go first if you want, sweetie.
Thanks, hon. Please, for old time's sake.
On one condition. When I'm done, I go. You won't ask me where, you won't look for me, you won't even think of me ever again.
I have no problem with that. Do you?
Anymore.
Minville Mansion day. Another beautiful Beverly Hills morning. An automated garbage truck picks up a garbage can in front of the Minville Mansion and dumps the contents, hundreds of spray paint cans. In Madeline's bedroom, Madeline and Helen, fully restored and in their underwear, are admiring themselves in a full-length mirror.
Oh, amazing, isn't he? Not a blemish, not a pore.
Say what What you like about Ernest? The man is a genius.
Madeline notices something on Helen's arm and reaches over to flick it away. Whatever it was doesn't seem to flick, so Madeline scratches at it with her nail. A chunk of paint comes up, and before Madeline realizes it, she pulled off a huge strip of Helen's flesh-tone paint, revealing a large patch of gray skin underneath.
Oh my God.
I am sorry. I shouldn't have messed with that. It must have still been wet.
Ernest, fix it?
Oh, I'm sure he can. I'll catch him before he leaves.
Wait a minute. What if this happens again? What if it fades? What if it rains? Do you think Ernest will come back for touch-ups?
Well, even if he did, he's not going to live forever.
They look at each other. Ernest's closet. He's in it. There's an open suitcase on the island, which is rapidly filling up. He empties one drawer and finds a picture of himself with Helen, the one he looked at before. He throws it and a framed picture of Madeline into a wastebasket. He turns to find them at the doorway. They have neatly prepared a glass of scotch on a tray.
Hello, Ernest.
Is my cab here?
Not yet. We thought you might like some breakfast.
They sit the drink on the dresser next to him.
You know, I was just thinking. I was questioning myself. I was wondering, why didn't I pack this thing and leave 5, 6, 10 years ago? Why did I stay and suffer every indignity, every humiliation?
He starts to take a drink, but stops with a thought.
It was because I made a promise. That meant everything to me.
He bangs the drink down and heads for the door.
Ernest, your drink.
He picks it up and they follow him. Ernest races ahead, the women behind him. Helen with the drink. He stops and turns sharply.
You know what you call those guys who stick to their word no matter what? I do. Idiots!
He turns and walks again, this time with the drink. They follow. He walks and talks, gesturing wildly, spilling some of the drink.
Well, from now on, I'm going to be the idiot I want to be. An idiot with a modicum of pride, because I finally realized I lived up to my promise. Till death to us part, I said. Well, darlings, you're dead. And I'm parting.
Drink? Drink. Almost as an afterthought, he raises the glass to his lips. The women lean forward in anticipation, but he stops again.
And you know what else? I drink too much.
He turns and dumps the drink into a nearby plant. Madeline and Helen look at each other desperate. Ernest nods to them and turns to go down the stairs. Madeline looks to her right. There are 2 antique vases on a table next to her. She picks one up and bashes Ernest over the head with it. Ernest doesn't go down, just turns and faces her, woozy and confused.
What?
Helen picks up the other vase and bashes that one over his head too. Ernest pitches forward and falls to the carpet. As he blacks out, the women lean over him, blurry and out of focus.
Sorry, sweetheart.
You'll thank us later. Really?
Everything goes black. Pool room. Everything remains black for a moment. There is only a strange, gentle lapping sound in the dark, like someone taking lazy laps in a swimming pool. Ernest opens his eyes. Liesl Van Rumen's rising up out of an indoor pool, completely naked. She comes up some steps out of the shallow end of the pool, but it seems like she's floating out of it.
This isn't in the movie either.
Her body is perfect. Ernest looks around. He looks back at Liesl. Every time she takes a step forward, a beam of light materializes above her, lighting her perfectly. Ernest turns and looks to the door where one of the beefy guys is in fact flicking a switch every time she takes a step. He's at a small circuit breaker box with many rows of tiny switches. 2 other beefy guys swoop up next to Liesl and blot her dry. More scripts just need beefy guys around, I think.
Yeah.
She gestures to Ernest's tuxedo.
I hope you don't mind. Dick and Harry dressed you. You were improperly attired for the occasion.
Who are you?
An admirer. How old do you think I am, Dr. Menville? I am more than 600 years old.
You, what do you want with me?
For the moment, like colleagues, you're a creator, a restorer, an artist. So am I. In fact, I've even finished a few of your early works for you.
You sound like you're trying to sell me something.
No, Dr. Menville, not to you. To you, I would like to give you a gift. The gift of life and youth, forever.
He opens the wooden potion case.
I saw your wife and friend. You did brilliant work. You're a genius. You're a god.
She noticed he's looking at her breasts, but does nothing to cover them.
My dream is to have a world full of Ernest Manvilles. But instead, look what I've had to settle for. Movie people. The real triumphs always refused me. Shakespeare, Lincoln, Max Factor. All of them were too selfish. They would deprive this world of their magic. So, I deprived them of this world.
You killed them?
I can't stand rejection. It's a fault, I know. Show me your hands. Oh, come on. I won't bite.
He does. She takes his right hand in hers. Moving quickly, she slides the dagger out of the potion case and slits his index finger.
Ah, hey!
Lizel dips the dagger in the potion and drips it into Ernest's cut.
What are you?
I'm loving you. Look.
Ernest looks down. Sure enough, his left hand is still aged and shaking, but his right hand is youthful, steady as a rock. He looks at Lizel, his eyes swollen with tears.
My God.
Thank you. But don't be modest. That's what you do, isn't it? It's what you've always done. Stopped time in people's hands, in their faces. You're Don Quixote, tilting at nature's windmill.
He holds out the vial to Ernest.
Go on. This is your chance to finally beat her. Drink it.
He takes the vial, holds it up, and the light from the pool seems to shimmer off of it. He looks to Lizel, looks at the potion, looks at the beefy guys.
It's the completion of your life's work.
Wedding now.
Drink.
Almost.
Sempre viva.
The bottle touches his lower lip and he starts to tilt it.
Live forever.
He stops right there.
But then what? I don't want to live forever. I mean, it sounds good, but what am I going to do? What if I get bored? What if I get lonely? What if something happens to me? What if I get maimed? What if I get shot? What if someone pushes me? What if I fall down a flight of stairs or something? I'll have to watch everyone around me die. I don't think this is right. This isn't a dream, it's a nightmare. You people ought to be stopped.
And with that, Ernest grabs the dagger off the table, turns and zings it across the room, scoring a perfect bullseye on the red button in the circuit breaker box. Sparks crack and the pool room is plunged into darkness. The beefy guys shout in alarm, but Ernest moves past, grabbing the potion, capping it, and running out the door.
Get him! Get him!
Relax. He won't get far. Not at his age.
Ernest races down the windowless corridor. It's like a labyrinth. He's racing and running. He's terrified. He's trying to get out of there. He's standing in the middle of Lizel's enormous Gothic ballroom, and she's having a party, a big party, probably 500 people there. He's running around. He moves forward into the crowd, trying to blend in. The door he came out of opens, and the three beefy guys tumble out. He's wandering about. Greta Garbo is there, talking to Marilyn Monroe while Andy Warhol looks on. They're alive, everyone! From the front of the room, a voice speaks over a public address system.
Welcome, everyone.
The crowd bursts into applause. Ernest looks. Jean-Paul Chagall is up on the second floor, landing with a microphone.
Liesel will be down in just 2 more minutes. In the meantime, I do have just a few announcements while we wait.
Ernest looks around, panicky, searching for a way out. He spots a large staircase. He starts to move towards it.
First, I must remind all of you who staged your own deaths of our strict policy against popping up in public to grab a few headlines. I won't name names. You know who you are.
Everyone turns and looks at Ernest. He stops in his tracks, then turns and looks behind him at those in the crowd are really looking at. It's Elvis Presley, slimmed down, looking like he did before the Vegas show period, with a stunning blonde on his arm. Presley looks away, embarrassed. Madeline and Helen follow the gaze of the crowd toward Presley and see Ernest.
Look, it's Ernest.
He still looks like hell. I don't think she gave him the good stuff.
For those of you who are on the installment plan, payment envelopes will be available before you leave.
He didn't take it at all. He's still got it.
They watch as Ernest edges his way towards the stairs. He keeps moving, nodding and smiling nervously.
Please keep your accounts current. Enforced collection is beneath us all. Krugerrands are still the preferred method of payment, with precious gems or works of art by acknowledged masters also acceptable. If you pay in cash, please remember contemporary currencies only.
He keeps going.
One sad note for you Americans, due to continued deterioration, we can no longer accept dollars.
Up on the landing, Ernest is heading up the stairs.
Ah, everyone, please come forward. Liesel will be down any second.
There's a great hubbub as everyone crowds forward, gathering under the landing.
Will the gentlemen please seal the room?
There are loud clunking and latching sounds as several beefy guys go around locking the doors and windows. Ernest steps onto it, but he's too late. A beefy guy at the door slams it shut. Ernest spins away, hiding his frustration. He looks across and sees a small door on the side. He ducks into an alcove. Liesel steps out, flanked by two more beefy guys. Ernest presses himself into the alcove, hiding. Ernest looks behind her at the elevator, which is still on the floor, waiting. He swallows.
Look at yourselves. Just look at yourselves.
The crowd applaud and cheer. Suddenly, Madeline grabs Helen's arm and points behind Liesel. Ernest is there, tiptoeing behind her.
Let me tell you a joke Dick Clarke told me just this morning.
Ernest slips into the elevator.
To which the man replies, "Don't ask me. I thought it was silicone."
Madeline and Helen watches the light in the door of the elevator ascends.
What's going on?
He's going up. Idiot, come on.
Oh, sorry. Oh, God.
Drink! Barbara, drink! Ernest barely has time to celebrate his escape when the elevator comes to a stop and the door swings open. He steps out and sizes up his surroundings. He's on the upper floor now, looking for somewhere to hide. He sees an open door. Liesel's dogs step out of the room and into the hallway. Ernest freezes and the dogs stare at him. He takes a step back. The dogs take a step forward. The elevator whirs again because the girls are coming now. The dog growls. Ernest wipes the sweat from his brow. He runs down the hall. The dogs take off after him. He turns a corner and finds himself in a dead end. The dogs are snapping at him, growling. He flings open the metal door in the ceiling and sees stars above. He tries to pull himself through, but one of the dogs sinks his teeth into the back of his jacket, tugging him down. Desperate, Ernest shrugs out of the jacket, throws himself through the open doorway in the ceiling, and clangs it shut on the dogs. He turns and finds himself on the flat roof of Liesel's mansion. A spring storm is on the way. Thunder rumbles.
Yeah, well, that helped.
He looks around. It's a sheer drop down the side of the house.
Oh, boy.
He looks around, a door open behind him, and he whirls. Madeline and Helen come out of the door of the roof and head toward him.
Stay away!
Ernest!
You're embarrassing us.
The top board of the trellis cracks under Ernest's weight. He slips down several boards, smashing through each of them before coming to rest on a rough one. He heaves a sigh of relief, but his reprieve is only temporary. Now the trellis breaks all the way, practically splitting down the middle. He spins, still holding on to half of it, and slams into the rain gutter, hard. The trellis breaks away beneath him and falls into the back. He looks down at his feet, dangling over the inky black. Madeline, Helen, and the beefy guys rush forward. The end of the gutter swings out away from the building, dangling Ernest out 6 or 7 feet, like a marionette.
Oh, my.
Ernest, give me your hand.
He goes to give it to him. He looks back to the steel plate. One of the bolts crunches out of the wall.
Do you still have the potion? Do you have it?
His eyes light up.
Drink it. You can put yourself back together again.
Drink it. You'll die otherwise.
Ernest looks at the potion. He looks at the steel plate. The second of the 4 bolts snaps out of the concrete and the gutter shakes again, and this time bends, dangerously close to falling.
It's your only chance. Drink it.
Drink it.
The third bolt zings. He looks at Madeline and Helen, looking at him desperate. A strange, peaceful look crosses his face.
I'm sorry, dears.
What?
Tell all the monsters I created. I'm so sorry.
He caps the bottle again and holds it out and deliberately lets go of it. It falls for a long time and then shatters. He looks up at Madeline and Helen for the last time, and then the bolt rips free. The gutter falls, and so does Ernest. The last thing he hears is the far-off screams of Madeline and Helen as he tumbles into the blackness. Down, down, down. Just before he hits, there is a sudden flash as lights go on beneath him, illuminating something right in front of him, something he's going to slam into. A stained glass window, Michelangelo's creation. Ernest covers his face as he smashes through the window and plunges into Liesel's swimming pool in a shower of glass. He hits the water hard, his fall broken, but he still smacks the bottom of the swimming pool pretty hard, but not too hard. He opens his eyes and sees something floating in the water next to him, something silvery and shiny. It's the potion bottle, unbroken, still corked. Ernest grabs it and swims to the top, bursting out and gasping for air. Jim Morrison is standing at the circuit breaker box. He holds Liesel's dagger, which he has just pulled out of the circuit breaker box. A half-clad blonde groupie is next to him.
You gonna be done soon or what?
Yes! And so are all of you!
Ernest runs down the hill from Liesel's mansion, slogging as he goes. He hurries up to the valet parking area where a 55 racing Porsche has been brought around. He shoves James Dean away from the driver's side, jumps in, and guns the engine.
Hey!
Up at the house, Madeline, Helen, and Liesel come out of the front door, watching Ernest drive away.
He still has the potion. It will be better for both of you if you get it back.
What are you going to do?
Kill us?
Bury you.
Yeesh. The porch screeches to a halt outside Dominic's, Ernest's neighborhood bar. It's late and the place is empty, except for the same comatose drunk at the inn.
Tony!
Hey, Dr. M!
Tony!
You know, you don't look so good. Everything okay?
They're after me, Tony. They're after me, and they won't rest until they catch me. Oh, they're all around us, you know.
Who is?
It sounds crazy, I know. But don't ask me to explain. You would never believe the horror that surrounds us in this city.
Is Madeline involved?
Yes.
I believe every word.
He drinks coffee.
Is this coffee?
Yes, I just said it.
Oh.
Should I make it a double?
Yeah.
He fills the cup. Minville Mansion. Helen and Madeline burst in the front door.
Ernest?
Come down here right this minute.
He wouldn't come here. This is a waste of time. No one would come back here. It's idiotic. I'll take the floor. You look upstairs.
Ernest has one hand wrapped around his cup of coffee, the other wrapped around the potion bottle.
Listen carefully. If anything happens to me, and I'm afraid it's going to, just get this bottle to the Times. Tell them to analyze it. They'll know what to do.
But
do you promise?
I promise, but you have to promise me something. For once in your life, you have to take care of yourself. Don't just sit here. If they're after you, you gotta go to the police or run or something.
It's no use. No matter where I go, they'll find me. I couldn't just disappear. I'd have to die and be reborn. You tell me, Tony, how could anyone possibly do that?
The drunk suddenly sits bolt upright, raising his finger as if he has a terrific idea.
Yes?
He falls forward, his face hitting the bar with a loud clunk, his toupee falling off.
Is he all right?
Ernest turns the drunk over and puts his finger on the side of his neck.
My God.
What?
He's dead.
Drink.
Oh.
Red?
Drink.
All dead. Extremely dead.
Double drink.
No.
Are you sure?
I've had some experience in these matters.
My God, the poor man.
I'll call the police. You call his wife. You know what wife he... Wait, what is this? There's like...
These are notes in the script.
We have notes in the scripts. I don't know where you got this draft.
We're going to skip over the squiggles.
We're gonna skip over the shit?
He had no wife. He would have wanted it this way.
Martin.
People are watching this being like, none of this was in the movie. None of this
Midville Mansion. Madeline and Helen meet in the foyer.
Well?
Nothing. You?
Nothing.
All right, let's be logical. If you were Ernest and you'd been through what he's been through, what's the first thing you would do?
They turn at the same time and look at the liquor cart, and they bolt for the door. Outside the bar, police cars are parked. Two coroners wheel a gurney out of the bar, a sheet pulled up over a corpse. Tony follows it.
It's Menville. Menville.
I can't seem to find any picture ID here, just credit cards and so forth.
Oh, I'm sure that's Dr. Menville. I've known him for 10 years.
Yeah, well, without ID, I'll need a family member to look at the body.
At the end of the driveway, a car pulls up. Madeline and Helen jump out.
Do
Body
you know
drink.
his next of kin?
body.
Body.
Fuck.
Let's adhere to the rules. Yeah.
Well, I don't think Mrs. Menville is around, although she might be getting out of the car right now. Mrs. Manville. Oh, Mrs. Manville, I'm so sorry. It's poor Dr. Manville. He's dead. I saw him die very clearly.
Drink.
This is where the preview audience was like,
Okay.
the movie's great, but this ending.
Ernest? That's Ernest Manville.
He's dead? Ernest is dead? Everybody's dead.
Triple drink.
Triple.
Jesus God.
I'm sorry, ma'am. These are these are his personal possessions. His wallet, his keys, everything he had on him.
This is it? This is all?
Yes, ma'am.
There was nothing else? Like maybe in a pocket?
Like a little bottle about this big?
I don't think so.
I want to see the body.
Drink.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Fine. We'll need you to identify it anyway.
No, it's ugly. It's ugly. He fell into the blender. I was making a margarita.
Round a corner, Ernest crouching in the alley dressed in the drunk's clothes. Here's what's going on and panics. He looks down at the potion bottle that he clutches in his hand. He's torn. Making a decision, he leans out around the corner and hisses. Tony turns. He cocks his arm to toss the bottle. Madeline has walked up next to the gurney. She reaches out and takes hold of the sheet with one hand, and she starts to draw it back. In the background, we can see the potion bottle arc gracefully through the air, over everyone's head, unseen by everyone except Tony, who catches it gracefully.
Wait a minute.
Madeline turns. She's holding the sheet up with one hand, clearly exposing the drunk's face.
Yes, exactly. I'll take care of
that. Ma'am?
Yes. That's my husband.
Fine. You can claim the body tomorrow at the morgue.
Drink.
Oh, God.
The morgue? I'll send someone.
The cop shrugs and goes to his car. Madeline and Helen come together, watching as the coroners finish loading the body.
Excuse me. Well, now it's just you and me, Hal.
Yep.
A terrible thought sweeps across Helen's face as the doors of the ambulance slam.
Forever.
The implications of eternity with Helen hit Madeline too now, and she turns to face Helen with the same look of dread on her face. They stare at each other. The bar, night. Tony comes back in the front door of the bar and closes it behind her. She turns and sees Ernest, still dressed in the drunk's clothes.
You did it. You got away with it.
They got away with it. Without that bottle, no one would ever believe me.
They'll get what's coming to them, Dr. M. Everybody does. Everybody.
Rain has started to fall.
When do you think they'll realize that body, drink, isn't mine?
Oh, not before you're far, far away.
And then what?
Switzerland, 27 years later. It's a beautiful spring day, late in the afternoon. Madeline and Helen are sitting on a cafe terrace that looks out over a park. They look exactly the same, and they look bored to death.
Switzerland.
You want to go to London?
Again?
Want to go to Paris?
I don't care.
Want to go anywhere?
What's the rush?
Madeline looks out into the park, and an old couple are in the park with a picnic basket.
Look at that couple. Look at them.
I'm looking at them.
God, they're old. Pathetic, aren't they? Huh?
Yeah, pathetic.
She looks at Madeline, then at herself, then back at the couple. There's almost a look of longing in her eyes as she watches them.
Pathetic.
Out in the park, the old couple are sitting on the blanket now, leaning against each other. The food and wine are laid out in front of them, but it's each other they admire and love. They're Ernest and Tony, now in their late 70s, well-dressed and well-groomed.
Oh, starving.
She holds out her hand to him, and it's an old, wrinkled, liver-spotted hand. He takes it with his left hand, which is every bit as old, and then he covers it with his right hand, the hand of a 25-year-old. And that... What is this? What is
the end of the movie? No, that's some weird appendix.
There's an appendix. Oh, that's from Madeline's film.
And that is a disastrous preview audience ending that was changed and reshoot.
Yes,
Thank
that
God
is
they
why.
changed
That is why you do not remember that ending. That's Death Becomes Her. Good job, everybody. You know, this was. I don't think I've seen the movie in a long time, but a lot of this just seemed unfamiliar to me.
Yeah.
A lot of it did
So a
not
lot
happen.
of it's not in the movie. I just saw it like 3 days
A lot
ago.
of it.
Yes.
I'll tell you, the scene that was not in the movie that I kind of wish they'd filmed was that refrigerator bit.
Yeah.
Where they're all, and then when they dismissed the servants, that was pretty brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Must
all
say.
the other scenes
Agreed.
pertaining to Tony, that wasn't in there. Like,
Yeah, they shot them
They
all.
kept
It's,
her- they
so
kept her
Tracy
present.
Ullman played Tony.
wow.
Really?
They shot the
They shot
entire
them all, but they
subplot.
didn't put it in.
Wow.
They
How do you
showed-
cut Tracy Ullman out of something?
Seriously.
Well,
that's-
because the audience saw that subplot and they were like, that's not very good.
Oh,
Yeah, they tightened everything up a lot.
It's not a good ending for Ernest. He doesn't deserve it.
yeah.
Yeah, because
Very
in the
true.
movie, they're just at the they're at the
At his funeral.
What is
They're
it?
at the
The
funeral.
brilliant. The ending of the movie is brilliant.
Yeah.
And he had this long life, and he has grandchildren, and
Yeah.
like the whole, and they're in the back,
He had a
like
normal
laughing, like crying and laughing.
And then they
at
fall down the stairs and
They fall down the stairs and their
break
bones
apart.
breaking
Oh,
and
it's
everything.
yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
brilliant ending.
That's
a great ending.
This movie is a good argument for shopping mall preview audience scores.
A plus, yes.
That
says
Agreed.
the screenwriter.
Did you say chopping mall previews?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. I made a pun.
Shopping mall previews.
So guys, I want to make I want to implore you guys at home again, if you have not donated to our charity for the evening, which is RAINN, please do that. You can do that at our website, scriptsgonewild.com. Again, just click on the donate button. It's going to take you directly to their website where you can make a donation. Also, we are in the last days of our fundraiser. Scripts Gone Wild is doing a fundraising drive so we can finally get our 501c3 status.
Okay.
We are almost there. So if you want to make a donation to us, you can do that on our website, on our social media. It's going to be on this YouTube video as well. It's gofundme.com/scriptsgonewildfund. We're almost there. So thank you all who have donated so far. And a couple of quick shout outs of what we've got coming up next Wednesday, same time. We are doing arachnophobia. We have a really fun cast for that. We've got Bashir Sylvain. We've got Ife Nwadaway. And a lot of fun folks for that. And then on the 14th of October, we are doing Sleepaway Camp. We have most of the original cast of Sleepaway Camp.
Whoa.
Really?
Yeah, which we're really excited about. Felissa has helped us get a pretty awesome cast for that. And then also in that
Cool.
spirit, on the 28th of October, we're doing Halloween 3 Season of the Witch with Tiffany Shepis, Danielle Harris, Serena Vincent, Ted Raimi, Lou Temple, like an insane cast of people for that one. All horror films in October, a lot of fun stuff coming up. You can check us out at scriptsgonewild.com or across all social media at scriptsgonewild, and we hope you do. Clay Keller, what do you guys have coming up for the Screen Drafts podcast?
Oh my goodness. Well, if everyone out there was really impressed with my contribution to tonight's read, you'll probably want to check out Screen Drafts. It's a film podcast I host with Ryan Marker, who played Chagall tonight. It was fabulous. Well done.
Good reading.
It's a game. We
Thank
competitively
you.
rank movies. A lot of past and future guests were on tonight's read. Bryan Cogman, Clarke, Wolfe,
Yeah.
Drew McWeeny. It looks like we lost him at some
Yeah,
point.
Drew messaged me. He had a deadline to make and asked me if it was okay if he dropped off, and I said yes. So
Fair enough. He's got a great newsletter that you can sign up for. But yeah, he's been on. Billy Ray, you're on all the goddamn time. It's super fun. October, we're doing all horror stuff. Check it out at Screen Drafts on Twitter. And yeah, some of the people on this read may actually come up in October. So check it out. It's great.
Thank you guys so much. One final time, I'm going to run down the cast for everybody. The great Barbara Crampton. Great Kelli Maroney.
Yes.
The also great Clarke Wolfe.
Yay!
Amazing.
The also great Bryan Cogman.
Yes.
The great Rakefet Abergel.
That was amazing.
A plus.
The great Ashley Song.
Oh, so great.
The great Noelle Urbano. The great Ryan Marker. Also great Chad Addison.
So great.
Guys, you know who else is great? Devaughn Taylor.
Yes.
And the great Clay Keller. Thank you for co-hosting, sir.
Oh,
And Billy Ray.
And Billy Ray.
Hey, Bruton.
Billy Ray.
And one final
Billy
time,
Ray.
remember that if you send me a screenshot of your donation, you can win the Robert Zemeckis Blu-ray prize pack. We've already had several that have been sent in.
I'm gonna try to win that.
Yeah, Death Becomes Her, Romantic.
I don't have a Blu-ray of Contact.
Roger Rabbit and Contact. Thank you guys again. We will
Thanks.
see you next week for
So
Arachnophobia.
fun.
And goodbye, audience at
Thank
home.
you.